and talked a good game.
She wanted to buy a bar and she wanted to go in business with us.
Then this scam went into overdrive.
She had stated that she had bought her ex-boyfriend a Tesla. She asked us if we wanted the vehicle for $500.
A new Tesla.
We were fools for believing her.
No, you were more than fools.
This is Judge Judy.
Jasmine and Jose Acosta are suing their former friend, Ramona Segura, for a loan, Disneyland tickets, a garage fee, and fraud.
Order. All rise. It's case number 448 on the calendar in the matter of Acosta versus Segura.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. and Mrs. Acosta, the defendant was a friend of yours. How did you meet her?
We met her at the bar my husband works at. She's a regular there. We have mutual friends.
And it is your claim that the defendant scammed you 3 times.
Correct.
Tell me when the first time was and how you think that she took your money under false pretenses.
Okay, so it started that she was at the bar. She talks to my husband, asked him if we have any children. She stated that she works at Disneyland, that she could get us discount tickets as well as...
Is that where you work?
That she could also get us tickets at a discounted rate as well as a hotel. We did mention to her that it was my daughter's birthday coming up in January, so we wanted to take her.
Slower.
Sorry. So we wanted to take her, so we thought about it for a little bit.
When was this?
This was in November of 2019. So we talked about it, we discussed it. She, gained our trust. Again, we have mutual friends. It's not someone we just...
Don't go. Just give me the facts, ma'am.
So the facts, she told us it was the $300. Up front, we had to pay her $300 for her to reserve the hotel room. So that's when we went ahead and gave her $300 cash. So following the $300, it was a remaining balance of $200 the day of. And that was in December, the beginning of December. Exact date for you. I'm sorry.
Just a minute. So eventually you gave her, for this, $500.
Yes. No, so it was $300. The day of, we were supposed to give her the remaining $200, but that never happened. We were never taken to Disneyland. It was canceled. We did not go to Disneyland.
Well, who canceled it?
We did, because initially, the first date that she was giving us to go, she had an excuse where we didn't go. So for the first day she gave us, it was an excuse that the park was busy. She started talking about this coronavirus that's going on. So
you're missing me, and you're talking too fast. So you gave her the $300.
Correct.
And you made a date with her to go. She canceled that date, or you canceled that date?
The initial date.
The first date?
Yes.
Who canceled it?
She did.
And what date was that?
So she gave us a reservation for it to be the 8th and the 9th of January for us to go to Disneyland.
All right, so she gave you the dates. These are the dates you can go.
Correct.
And you gave her $300.
We gave her $300, yes.
And you were about to go. On what date did she tell you that it was canceled?
So she took the initiative because my husband...
No, look at me and talk slower.
I'm sorry. So she had took the initiative to cancel it because my husband got sick.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
So you canceled it?
No.
Well, if your husband got sick, then he couldn't go.
Yeah, but she took the initiative to cancel. She said I had already canceled. So she was rescheduling for us to go again.
You may be right.
Yes.
But don't avoid answering truthfully.
No, ma'am.
He was sick.
Correct.
So you stop playing with your paper. He was sick so that you couldn't go on the 8th and 9th of January. Were you sick?
Yeah.
What was wrong with you?
I had the flu. But I want to go because I want to take my kids.
We were
and then
still
she
going.
canceled
Just a sec. What? You had the flu and you were going to go?
So it's my daughter's
Well,
birthday.
that's pretty selfish of you.
No,
and stupid.
It's my daughter's birthday. I want to take my daughter.
That was pretty selfish and stupid. If you have the flu, to go to a bunch of other people, the flu. You canceled the 8th and 9th. Did you reschedule?
We had rescheduled, but she never gave us a date. She was going to check the availability.
And what happened?
That's when, after Disneyland, she tells us that she was coming into a settlement for 20...
Did you cancel the 8th on the 8th or the 7th?
No, ma'am.
When did you cancel it?
We didn't cancel. She canceled.
No, you canceled it. You may say she canceled. Your husband had the flu. He couldn't go to Disneyland. On what date did you let her know that you had the flu? Sir, on
She
what
came to the house that day when I was sick.
What day?
I don't remember exactly the date, but that was like 2 days before we were supposed to go to Disneyland. And then we were supposed to reschedule the date to go again. And that's when she came with that she got a settlement for $25 million. And that's when she told me I needed more money to pay my rent, if I know anybody.
Now tell me about the next alleged scam.
Yes. So following that, we became a friendship with her. We've gone out to eat multiple times. She had mentioned that she was going to get kicked out of her apartment, that she did not have funds due to her getting a settlement, that she was wrongfully diagnosed by a doctor, causing her to get multiple treatments, and they were rewarding her with $25 million. She said due to the IRS auditing her, her assets were frozen, so she had no money. Us as parents, we did feel bad for her because we even met her son, and she did not have $1,500. Apparently, she had said that all her assets were frozen, so she wouldn't have access to her money. So since she was getting direct deposit, she did not have access to get any money from the bank. So that's when she inquired that if we know anybody who could lend her $1,500 and she would reimburse them double that, doubling the $1,500. We went to bed. Again, I felt bad. I am a mother of 3. And we spoke and said, let's lend her the money.
On what date did you do that?
We lent her the money in November as well, the end of November. She was paying her rent for December of $1,500.
Let's leave the hotel room aside for the moment.
Okay.
Did the plaintiffs give you $1,500?
They did.
For what?
To help me with my rent. It was never a conversation with Jasmine. It was always conversations with Jose. And he said that he's been in tough situations, that he had spoke to his wife, that he would help me out.
Good. Did you pay him back?
No,
You owe him $1,500 so far. You still work at Disney?
I do.
Your bank's still frozen?
No. But with
Why?
the Disney, can I say my side of the story? I suggested when he became sick with the flu not to go to Disneyland because he would not enjoy himself, because he would be grouchy. And so I offered him another date to go, which was in a text message, January 29th through the 31st. So I offered them another date to go, and they accepted that date. And then they turned around and canceled. Thereafter that, she wasn't getting her unemployment check, her disability, were non-refundable tickets.
Can I see that text, please? Notice how I sort of glossed over this $300 for Disney, because if you cancel a day before, usually, if you put down a deposit, they take your full deposit.
Right, but he was sick, and
Would you show this to them? So she offered you an alternative date.
Yes. And due to me not getting my check from EDD, I never agreed. If you see, there's never a text me saying, yes, we'll take that date.
I don't care. You canceled the first time. She managed to get you a second time. Let's go. Let's move on. So far, she owes you $1,500 for her rent. What's next?
After that, when she had said that she came into a settlement, she had mentioned to us that she had an abusive boyfriend that became her ex-boyfriend. She had mentioned that she bought him a Tesla. And during the time that she had told us that she had a settlement of $25 million, she wanted to buy a bar. She wanted to buy a bar, and she wanted to go in business with us. And moving forward, prior to the bar, she had told us that she had came into the $25 million settlement.
You already said that 5 times.
I'm sorry. It's just a whole lot that happened. There's so much in between.
So far, she owes you $1,500.
$1,500, correct. After Disneyland, when she had told us about the $25 million, we had asked her my husband had asked her, let us borrow $20,000. Why don't I just buy it for you guys? Buy it, and you guys pay me, since she's getting that settlement.
So now your husband is asking her for $20,000.
Yes, this is when we still thought Disneyland was real. Yeah.
So now your husband is asking her, who he's just lent $1,500 to, for $20,000 from her settlement, because now you see, for a house.
For a home, correct.
And she said,
that's when she had stated that she'll purchase it and we would pay her back. That she could purchase it cash and we would pay her back. We got in contact with our realtor, and that's when we went house shopping. We went looking at homes for us. We went looking at homes for her. We were everywhere you could think of looking for homes. We actually opened escrow on a home. I have the purchase agreement here as well as a cancellation.
Keep going.
We went into escrow with the home. That's when we started asking her for all her bank statements. You need W-2, all the proof that you need to show that where the money's coming from. She had excuses left and right that her attorney...
Did you give her any money for this home?
No, ma'am.
So what do I have to know about it for?
Following that, so it's because it's one of the incidents with her, that's where we were back and forth with her with the whole home. I have proof of that as far as...
Just a second. You didn't give her any money?
No, I didn't give her any money for that.
So let's move on.
Okay, so then that's where it comes to the car. Where you see the $500 garage fee, she has stated that she had bought her ex-boyfriend a Tesla vehicle for $500.
A new Tesla?
A new Tesla that she had already gave a down payment, and that all we had to pay was a $500 garage fee. Yes. I know.
Oh my God.
She sent us photos. She sent us invoices. She sent us everything that made it seem real. We went to the Tesla dealer We test drive the car. I mean, we went with our whole family. We're a family of 5 with the 3 little ones.
I mean, what kind of ridiculousness do you think that you can buy a $100,000 car for $500?
So she sent us an invoice that said the vehicle was going to be $64,000, that she had already gave a down payment, but since her ex-boyfriend was abusive and cheated on her with her cousin,
I don't care.
she didn't want to give it to him. So that's why she wasn't giving it to him. Now she was willing to give it to us for a $500 garage fee since her assets were frozen.
Just a second. $500 garage fee. And who was supposed to pay out the $64,000?
She had already given a down payment on the car.
How much?
She had said she had given $3,500.
Who was supposed to pay the rest?
She was.
So far, she owes you $1,500.
I have.
That's all. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I can't even take you seriously.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We were fools for believing her.
Well, then, no, you were more than fools.
But
you were more than fools. You thought you were getting something for nothing.
And later today,
if the bills were in storage that you say she took and destroyed or she got rid of, then all you have to do is call up the company and say, I lost all my bills. Can you send me a copy? Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
Jasmine and Jose Acosta claim former friend Ramona Segura defrauded them on several accounts.
Now, so far, show me proof that you gave her $1,500.
There you go.
Okay.
ma'am, can I show you what I have for the Tesla? She did send us information for it.
No. I'm going to tell you why. Because you have to know that either you're getting conned or somebody is stealing something when you're going to get a $60,000 car for $500. It's like going up to somebody and say, you want to buy my Rolex? I need money right now. I have to go buy a bowl of soup and a bagel. So I'm going to sell you my Rolex, which is a $25,000 watch, for $50. And then you say, oh, yeah. That Rolex, probably stolen. But if I could buy it for $50, why not?
You were fools for believing her?
Well, then, no, you were more than fools.
But
No, you were more than fools.
She came around our kids.
You were more than fools. You thought you were getting something for nothing. See, the rent is a whole different thing. She said she needed rent. Bank accounts were frozen, whatever it is. She may have felt that she had a couple of suckers. But you knew that you were giving her money, and that money was going... in your head was going to her rent. You said, I'm a mother of 3. I realized that. She has a son. But with regard to the car, you thought you were getting something for nothing because somebody was going to get scammed. You weren't signing your name as owners of the car, responsible for the loan.
She said that she was putting it under our name.
Let's say I believe you that she said, I put down $3,500. Well, that's still $61,000. Who was supposed to pay the $61,000?
She said she was.
Yeah. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. We're done. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. They step out.
The accusations were false against me.
She's a liar. She knows what she's doing. She's a con artist.
I didn't owe him anything.
Now I can't trust people.
Jealous wife. She couldn't handle the fact that her husband and I became really good friends.
We're not friends. Absolutely not friends.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Patterson versus Williams. Step forward.
Donna Patterson is suing her rent, a car, the cost of a storage unit, and emotional distress.
All right, so let me understand this, Miss Patterson. You owned a house.
Yes.
Was there one house on the property or 2?
There was a mobile home and then a tiny house.
And were you living in the house?
No, I didn't live there.
You didn't live there. You rented to people.
Yes.
At some point, the property went into foreclosure.
Yes.
Had you owned the property for a long time?
A year.
Did you inherit the property or did you buy it?
I acquired it.
From whom?
A former friend and neighbor who no longer had any funds, so she said if I take it over.
How much did you pay for it?
I didn't. She quitclaimed it to me.
Just a second. So you didn't pay for this property that had a house and a trailer on it?
Correct.
However, that property had taxes on it that you didn't pay?
Correct.
So your friend gave you the property for nothing, you didn't pay the taxes on it, and you rented, let me get this clear, because now it's becoming clear to me, you rented the house and or the trailer, one of them, to the defendant.
She actually rented a room in the house.
How many people did you have renting in the house?
5.
So now let's understand this. So you You got this property for nothing. You didn't pay the taxes on it, and you were renting to 5 people. At some point, all the electricity was cut off in the house and the trailer. So the whole place was being run by generator, but you lived someplace else.
Correct.
Now, where you lived, did you have lights?
Yes.
Air conditioning?
No.
Heat?
No.
Do you live in a cabin?
No.
What kind of place do you live in?
I lived in a home, a regular house, but the air conditioning and heating had broke, so I didn't have it for 3 years.
Oh, sounds like a whole lot of problems to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You want to come back here when you have all the paperwork? I'll be more than happy to let you go outside. Now you have the name of the company, call them up, fax it here, and you can come back tomorrow. You want to do that? Yes or no?
No.
Of course not. Okay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Donna Peterson says former tenant Glenda Williams is a squatter. Glenda's countersuing for the cost of a generator.
Okay. In any event, what you say is that she became a squatter and didn't pay you rent
Correct.
in a house that had been foreclosed that you weren't paying on.
I didn't know it was foreclosed in the beginning.
Who cares? I don't care. You weren't paying a penny.
I was paying another company to keep it out of foreclosure so their rent could go towards getting it out of foreclosure.
Let me see what you were...
I only have the name of the company.
I don't care.
Because it was in storage that she stole.
Name of the company doesn't help me. So far, we're in a totally unsympathetic position. It's not as if you rented to the defendant in a house that you were maintaining, that you paid for, and that you were paying the taxes on, and she was living there squatting on this property and didn't pay you rent from August until May, even though it was run on a generator.
But that's not correct. I'm sorry. It's not correct.
She
had all the other utilities.
You said to me somebody gave you the house last year. Didn't you tell that to me? Or was it 2 years ago that they gave you the house?
I'm sorry. It was 2 years ago. If I said 1, I'm sorry.
Well, you're an adult woman. You live in a house. Then you know on a house, on property, there are taxes that have to be paid. So it's not 1 year you didn't pay the taxes. You didn't pay the taxes for 2 years.
No, I didn't. I didn't pay the taxes.
Then you were a squatter on that property, too.
No, Your Honor. I still paid all the other bills. I paid $750 every month to keep it out of foreclosure for 2 years.
Just a second. Show me.
My receipt was in storage, which is another part of the case.
Just a second. It's not another part of the case, madam. Let me tell you this. There is zero sympathy, because if you were paying $750 a month to keep the house out of foreclosure, A, you weren't successful, and B, and destroyed or she got rid of, then all you have to do is call up the company and say, I lost all my bills. Can you send me a copy? Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. If you paid $750 a month to a company and you didn't have the bills, that company will give you the $750 receipts as copies. If it's only over 2 years, we're not talking about 10 years ago.
But I just barely found the paperwork that shows the name of the company.
Oh, fine. Then you want to come back here when you have all the paperwork? I'll be more than happy to let you go outside. Now you have the name of the company, call them up, fax it here, and you can come back tomorrow. You want to do that? Yes or no?
No.
Of course not. Okay. Now, you have equally as ridiculous a lawsuit. You know, you say that she used your generator to fire up the house and to keep the basic necessities going, and because it was used so often, your generator, that it blew. That's your counterclaim?
Yes.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
No, it's not.
We're done.
Your Honor, there's a whole lot more to this.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy Judge Judy.
You moved in with your grandfather.
A young woman runs into trouble.
He punched you?
He did, and that's when the chokehold happened. He's on parole for first-degree murder.
Next, Judge Judy.
For 2 years, she didn't pay.
I'm glad it is all over with.
I paid for the generator to be fixed.
She illegally hooked up the electricity.
I paid $300 to fix it.
Did a trench underground. I'm just so glad it's over.
Never again.
I am glad this matter is over with, and I'd like to thank Judge Judy for having me on her show.
Their so-called friend talked a good game.
She wanted to buy a bar and she wanted to go in business with us.
Then this scam went into overdrive.
She has stated that she had bought her ex-boyfriend a Tesla. She asked us if we wanted the vehicle for $500.
A new Tesla.
We were fools for believing her.
No, you were more than fools.
This is Judge Judy.
Jasmine and Jose Acosta are suing their former friend, Ramona Segura, for a loan, Disneyland tickets, a garage fee, and fraud.
Order. All rise. Number 448 on the calendar in the matter of Acosta versus Segura.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. and Mrs. Acosta, the defendant was a friend of yours. How did you meet her?
We met her at the bar my husband works at. She's a regular there. We have mutual friends.
And it is your claim that the defendant scammed you 3 times.
Correct.
Tell me when the first time was and how you think that she took your money under false pretenses.
Okay, so it started that she was at the bar. She talked to my husband, asked him if we have any children. She stated that she works at Disneyland, that she could get us discount tickets as well as...
Is that where you work?
Yes, it is.
Okay, go ahead.
So she stated she worked there, that she could also get us tickets at a discounted rate as well as a hotel. We did mention to her that it was my daughter's birthday coming up in January, so we wanted to take her.
Slower.
Sorry. So we wanted to take her, so we thought about it for a little bit.
When was this?
This was in November
of
2019. So we talked about it, we discussed it. She, gained our trust. Again, we have mutual friends. It's not someone we just...
Don't go, just give me the facts, ma'am.
So the facts, she told us it was the $300. Up front, we had to pay her $300 for her to reserve the hotel room. So that's when we went ahead and gave her $300 cash. So following the $300, it was a remaining balance of $200 the day of December. Exact date for you, I'm sorry.
Just a minute, so eventually you gave her, for this, $500.
Yes, no, so it was $300. The day of, we were supposed to give her the remaining $200, but that never happened. We were never taken to Disneyland. It was canceled. We did not go to Disneyland.
Well, who canceled it?
We did, because initially, the first date that she was giving us to go, she had an excuse where we didn't go. So for the first day she gave us, it was an excuse that the park was busy. She started talking about this coronavirus that's going on. So
you're missing me, and you're talking too fast. So you gave her the $300.
Correct.
And you made a date with her to go.
Correct.
She was going to be there because she works there.
Correct.
She canceled that date, or you canceled that date?
The initial date.
The first date?
Yes.
Who canceled it?
She did.
And what date was that?
So she gave us a reservation for it to be the 8th and the 9th of January for us to go to Disneyland.
All right, so she gave you the dates. These are the dates you can go.
Correct.
And you gave her $300.
We gave her $300, yes.
And you were about to go. On what date did she tell you that it was canceled?
So she took the initiative because my husband...
No, look at me and talk slower.
I'm sorry. So she had took the initiative to cancel it because my husband got sick.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
So you canceled it?
No.
Well, if your husband...
She said I had already canceled. So she was rescheduling for us to go again.
You may be right.
Yes.
But don't avoid answering truthfully.
No, ma'am.
He was sick.
Correct.
So you stop playing with your paper. He was sick so that you couldn't go on the 8th and 9th of January. Were you sick?
Yeah.
What was wrong with you?
I had the flu. But I want to go because I want to take my kids.
We were
and then
still
she
going.
canceled
Just a second. What? You had the flu and you were going to go?
So it's my daughter's
well,
birthday.
That's pretty selfish of you and stupid.
It's my daughter's birthday. I want to take my daughter.
That was pretty selfish and stupid. If you have the flu, to go to Disneyland with a whole bunch of other people, to give a whole bunch of other people the flu. You canceled the 8th and 9th. Did you reschedule?
We had rescheduled, but she never gave us a date. She was going to check the availability.
And what happened?
That's when, after Disneyland, she tells us that she was coming into a settlement for 20...
Did you cancel the 8th on the 8th or the 7th?
No, ma'am.
When did you cancel it?
We didn't cancel. She canceled.
No, you canceled. You may say she canceled. Your husband had the flu. He couldn't go to Disneyland. On what date did you let her know that you had the flu? Sir, on
she
what
came to the house that day when I was sick.
What day?
I don't remember exactly the date, but that was like 2 days before we were supposed to go to Disneyland. And then we came with that she got a settlement for $25 million. And that's when she told me I needed more money to pay my rent, if I know anybody.
Now tell me about the next alleged scam.
Yes. So following that, we became a friendship with her. We've gone out to eat multiple times. She had mentioned that she needed that she was going to get kicked out of her apartment, that she did not have funds due to her getting a settlement, that she was wrongfully diagnosed by a doctor, causing her to get multiple treatments, and they were rewarding her with $25 million. She said due to the IRS auditing her, her assets were frozen, so she had no money. Us as parents, we did feel bad for her because we even met her son, and she did not have $1,500 to pay for her rent.
Well, she's working at Disney.
Apparently, she had said that all her assets were frozen, so she wouldn't have access to her money. So since she was getting direct deposit, she did not have access to get any money from the bank. So that's when she inquired that if we know anybody who could lend her $1,500 and she would reimburse them double that, doubling the $1,500. We went to bed. Again, I felt bad. I am a mother of 3. And we spoke and said, let's lend her the money.
On what date did you do that?
We lent her the money in November as well, the end of November. She was paying her rent for December of $1,500.
Let's leave the hotel room aside for the moment.
Okay.
Did the plaintiffs give you $1,500?
They did.
For what?
To help me with my rent. It was never conversation with Jasmine. It was always conversations with Jose, that he had spoke to his wife, that he would help me out.
Good. Did you pay him back?
No.
You owe him $1,500 so far. You still work at Disney?
I do.
Your bank's still frozen?
No. But with
Why?
with the Disney, can I say my side of the story? I suggested when he became sick with the flu not to go to Disneyland because he would not enjoy himself, because he would be grouchy, and so I offered him another date to go, which was in a text message, January 29th through the 31st. So I offered them another date to go, and they accepted that date. And then they turned around and canceled thereafter that she wasn't getting her unemployment check, her disability check, and she was not going to be able to go. These were non-refundable tickets.
Can I see that text, please? Notice how I sort of glossed over this $300 for Disney. Because if you cancel a day before, usually, if you put down a deposit, they take your full deposit.
Right, but he was sick, and I...
Would you show this to them? So she offered you an alternative date?
Yes. And due to me not getting my check from EDD, I never agreed. If you see, there's never a text me saying, yes, we'll take that date.
I don't care. You canceled the first time. She managed to get you a second time. Let's go. Let's move on. So far, she owes you $1,500 for her rent.
She came into a settlement. She had mentioned to us that she had an abusive boyfriend that became her ex-boyfriend. She had mentioned that she bought him a Tesla. And during the time that she had told us that she had a settlement of $25 million, she wanted to buy a bar. She wanted to buy a bar, and she wanted to go in business with us. And moving forward, prior to the bar, she had told us that she had came into the $25 million settlement.
You already said that 5 times.
I'm sorry. It's just a whole lot that happened. There's so much in between.
So far, she owes you $1,500.
$1,500, correct. After Disneyland, when she had told us about the $25 million, we had asked her to. My husband had asked her let us borrow $20,000 for a home. We were in the middle of trying to purchase a home. She said, "No. Why don't I just buy it for you guys? Buy it, and you guys pay me, since she's getting that settlement."
So now your husband is asking her for $20,000.
Yes, this is when we still thought Disneyland was real. Yeah.
So now your husband is asking her, who he's just lent $1,500 to, for $20,000 from her settlement, because now you see, for a house.
For a home, correct.
And she said...
She said, that's when she had stated, that she'll purchase it and we would pay her back. That she could purchase it cash and we would pay her back. We got in contact with our realtor, and that's when we went house shopping. We went looking at homes for us. We went looking at homes for her. We were everywhere you could think of looking for homes. Agreement here, as well as a cancellation.
Keep going.
We went into escrow with the home. That's when we started asking her for all her bank statements. You need W-2, all the proof that you need to show that where the money's coming from. She had excuses left and right that her attorney...
Did you give her any money for this home?
No, ma'am.
So what do I have to know about it for?
Following that, so it's because it's one of the incidents with her, that's where... we were back and forth with her with the whole home. I have proof of that as far as...
Just a second. You didn't give her any money?
No, I didn't give her any money for that.
So let's move on.
Okay, so then that's where it comes to the car. Where you see the $500 garage fee, she has stated that she had bought her ex-boyfriend a Tesla. She asked us, since we were going to be business partners, if we wanted the vehicle for $500.
A new Tesla?
A new Tesla, that she had already gave a down payment, and that all we had to pay was a $500 garage fee. Yes. I know. Oh, she sent us photos. She sent us invoices. She sent us everything that made it seem real. We went to the Tesla dealer. We test drove the car. I mean, we went with our whole family. We're a family of 5 with the 3 little ones.
What kind of... Ridiculousness. Do you think that you can buy a $100,000 car for $500?
So she sent us an invoice that said the vehicle was going to be $64,000, that she had already gave a down payment, but since her ex-boyfriend was abusive, and she didn't want to give it to him, so that's why she wasn't giving it to him. Now she was willing to give it to us for a $500 garage fee due to, since her assets were frozen.
Just a second. $500 garage fee, and who was supposed to pay out the $64,000?
She had already given a down payment on the car.
How much?
She had said she had given $3,500.
Who was supposed to pay the rest?
She was.
So far, she owes you $1,500.
I have.
That's all. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I can't even take you seriously.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We were fools for believing her.
Well, then, no, you were more than fools.
But we...
No, you were more than fools.
She came around our kids.
You were more than fools. You thought you were getting something for nothing.
And later today...
If the bills were in storage that you say she took and destroyed or she got rid of, then all you have to do is call up the company and say, I lost all my bills. Can you send me a copy? Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
Jasmine and Jose Acosta claim former friend Ramona Segura defrauded them on several accounts.
Now, so far, show me proof that you gave her $1,500.
There you go.
Okay.
Ma'am, can I show you what I have for the Tesla? She did send us information for it.
No. I'm going to tell you why. Because you have to know that either you're getting conned or somebody is stealing something when you're going to get a $60,000 car for $500. It's like going up to somebody and say, you want to buy my Rolex? I need money right now. I have to go buy a bowl of soup and a bagel. So I'm going to sell you my Rolex, which is a $25,000 watch, for $50. And then you say, oh, yeah. That Rolex, probably stolen. But if I could buy it for $50, why not? You think that the courts are going to help you?
I understand that we were fools for believing her.
Well, then, no, you were more than fools.
But we...
No, you were more than fools.
She came around our kids.
You were more than fools. You thought you were getting something for nothing. See, the rent is a whole different thing. She said she needed rent. Bank accounts were frozen, whatever it is. She may have felt that she had a couple of suckers. But you knew that you were giving her money, and that money was going... in your head was going to her rent. You said, I'm a mother of 3. I realized that. She has a son. But with regard to the car, you thought you were getting something for nothing because somebody was going to get scammed. You weren't signing your name as owners of the car responsible for the loan.
She said that we...
I believe you that she said, I put down $3,500. Well, that's still $61,000. Who was supposed to pay the $61,000?
She said she was.
Yeah. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. We're done. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused and they step out.
The accusations were false against me.
She's a liar. She knows what she's doing. She's a con artist.
I didn't owe him anything.
Now I can't trust people.
Jealous wife. She couldn't handle the fact that her husband and I became really good friends.
We're not friends. Absolutely not friends.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Patterson versus Williams. Step forward.
Donna Patterson is suing her former tenant, Glenda Williams, for rent, a car, the cost of a storage unit, and emotional distress.
All right, so let me understand this, Miss Patterson. You owned a house.
Yes.
Was there one house on the property or 2?
There was a mobile home and then a tiny house.
And were you living in the house?
No, I didn't live there.
You didn't live there. You rented to people.
Yes.
At some point, the property went into foreclosure.
Yes.
Had you owned the property for a long time?
A year.
Did you inherit the property or did you buy it?
I acquired it.
From whom?
A former friend and neighbor who no longer had any funds, so she said if I take it over.
How much did you pay for? Didn't pay for this property that had a house and a trailer on it.
Correct.
However, that property had taxes on it that you didn't pay.
Correct.
So your friend gave you the property for nothing. You didn't pay the taxes on it, and you rented, let me get this clear, because now it's becoming clear to me, you rented the house and or the trailer, one of them, to the defendant.
She actually rented a room in the house.
How many people did you have renting in the house?
5.
So now let's understand this. So you got this property for nothing, you didn't pay the taxes on it, and you were renting to 5 people who lived in the house. They paid you rent.
Yes.
At some point, all the electricity was cut off in the house and the trailer. So the whole place was being run by generator, but you lived someplace else.
Correct.
Now, where you lived, did you have lights?
Yes.
Air conditioning?
No.
Heat?
No.
Do you live in a cabin?
No.
What kind of place do you live in?
I lived in a home, a regular house, but the air conditioning and heating had broke, so I didn't have it for 3 years.
Oh, sounds like a whole lot of problems to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You want to come back here when you have all the paperwork? I'll be more than happy to let you go outside. Now you have the name of the company. Call them up. Fax it here. It's not. Okay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Donna Peterson says former tenant Glenda Williams is a squatter. Glenda's countersuing for the cost of a generator.
Okay. In any event, what you say is that she became a squatter and didn't pay you rent.
Correct.
In a house that had been foreclosed that you weren't paying on.
I didn't know it was foreclosed in the beginning.
Who cares? I don't care. You weren't paying a penny.
I was paying another company to keep it out of foreclosure so their rent could go towards getting it out of foreclosure.
Let me see what you were paying another company to keep it out of foreclosure.
I only have the name of the company.
I don't care.
Because it was in storage that she stole.
Name of the company doesn't help me. So far, we're in a totally unsympathetic position. It's not as if you rented to the defendant in a house that you were maintaining, that you paid for, and that you were paying the taxes on, and she was living there squatting on this property and didn't pay you rent from August until May, even though it was run on a generator.
But that's not correct. I'm sorry, it's not correct.
She
had all the other utilities.
You said to me somebody gave you the house last year. Didn't you tell that to me? Or was it 2 years ago that they gave you the house? Woman, you live in a house. Then you know on a house, on property, there are taxes that have to be paid. So it's not 1 year you didn't pay the taxes. You didn't pay the taxes for 2 years.
No, I didn't. I didn't pay the taxes.
Then you were a squatter on that property, too.
No, Your Honor. I still paid all the other bills. I paid $750 every month to keep it out of foreclosure for 2 years.
Just a second. Show me.
My receipt was in storage, which is another part of the case.
Just a second. It's not another part of the case, madam. Let me tell you this. There is zero sympathy, because if you were paying $750 a month to keep the house out of foreclosure, A, you weren't successful, and B, if the bills were in storage that you say she took and destroyed or she got rid of, then all you have to do is call up the company and say, I lost all my bills. Can you send me a copy? Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. If you paid $750 a month to a company and you didn't have the bills, that company will give you the $750 receipts as copies. If it's only over 2 years, we're not talking about 10 years ago.
But I just barely found the paperwork that
back here, when you have all the paperwork, I'll be more than happy to let you go outside. Now you have the name of the company. Call them up. Fax it here. You can come back tomorrow. You want to do that? No. Yes or no?
No.
Of course not. Okay. Now, you have equally as ridiculous a lawsuit. You know, you say that she used your generator to fire up the house and to keep the basic necessities going, and because it was used so often, your generator, that it blew. That's your counterclaim?
Yes.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
No, it's not.
We're done.
Your Honor, there's a whole lot more to this.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You moved in with your grandfather.
A young woman runs into trouble.
He punched you?
He did, and that's when the chokehold happened. He's on parole for first-degree murder.
Next Judge Judy.
For 2 years, she didn't pay.
I'm glad it is all over with.
I paid for the generator to be fixed.
She illegally hooked up the electricity.
I paid $300 to fix it.
Did a trench underground. I'm just so glad it's over.
Never again.
I am glad this matter is over with, and I'd like to thank Judge Judy for having me on her show.
One dog owner spotted trouble.
he sort of immediately started to growl and be aggressive towards a larger dog.
My dog's never growled in his life, Your Honor.
You don't know that. You only had the dog 6 weeks.
A new owner sees what he wants.
Tails were wagging, no barks, no growling.
It happened so quickly. He had already bitten her and had her in his mouth.
To me, it still wasn't like a vicious attack.
There's no question that your dog injured hers.
This is Judge Judy. Gemma Coster is suing fellow dog owner Michael Daniels for vet bills resulting from an attack at a dog park.
Judge's case number 43 on the calendar in the matter of Costa versus Daniels. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Costner, it is your claim that the defendant's dog attacked your dog in a dog park.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Daniels?
Yes.
Says that actually your dog was the one that nipped at his first, and you should have been taking your dogs to an area specifically designed for smaller animals. Tell me when this incident took place.
It took place on Friday, July 31st. It was probably about 4:45-ish.
Had you been to this dog park before?
Yes, I've gone multiple times. I take my dogs probably 3 to 4 times a week, about the same time every day.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have 2 terrier mixes. So one is a rat terrier, Boston terrier mix, and the other...
Approximate weights on each.
Ellie is about 22 pounds. Prancer is smaller. He's 15 pounds.
Reasonable size. What kind of dog do you have, Mr. Daniels?
I have a golden lab mix named Jack.
And about how much does he weigh?
About 91 pounds, according to his last vet visit.
How old is he?
We were told he was 3 years old, Your Honor, when we rescued him back in June.
So you rescued him in June. This happened within about a month of your becoming his new owners.
Correct, about 6 weeks.
So I would assume that you had not been to this dog park frequently before.
Not frequently. We've went the prior 2 weeks prior to this third visit.
Is there, Mr. Daniels, a separate area for large dogs and small dogs that is marked in the dog park?
Yes, Your Honor, clearly marked on the gates of both entrances.
Is that right?
There's a sign that has a recommended weight limit, correct, not a required limit.
Okay, but what is the recommended weight limit for small dogs?
I believe it's 30 pounds for the large side and under 30 pounds for the small side.
Are they fenced in any way?
Yes, the 2 areas are fenced in separately, correct.
Could you tell me why you didn't take your 2 small dogs into the small dog area?
So actually, we tend to go on both sides, so we've taken them onto both areas.
The question was a simple one. Is suggested for small dogs. I would certainly take my dogs into a small dog area rather than one where there are much larger dogs. As a dog owner for 60 years, it's just would be my preference, and there's a certain wisdom to that. That's why they separate the areas large and small. So I'm just curious as to why you took your 2 small dogs into the large dog area.
Honestly, I've done it for a long time, and Ellie enjoys playing with larger dogs. You know, she's 22 pounds, but she's pretty tall, so she likes to play with bigger dogs. And there are way more details to this story that really show that, honestly, the size of my dog has nothing to do with this, and I would love to share those details.
I'm going to let you. I'm just curious as to why, and I'm certainly interested in hearing the details of what you have to tell me. But you're the parent of the 2 dogs, just like you're the parent of children. And if you take 2 toddlers into a toddler pool, and if you take older children who are a little more rough and tumble, I would tend to take my toddler into an area where there were other toddlers, so that if they fell or if they were pushed or something, they would be shoved or pushed by someone of an appropriate size so that they wouldn't be hurt. And I sort of feel the same way about dogs. If you have a dog, a 100-pound dog can cause a great deal of damage to a 15-pound dog. So I, as a parent, would want to exercise due caution. That's what I'm suggesting to you. That doesn't mean that the defendant wasn't at fault. I'll hear you. I'm just talking to you about you being the parent. The dog doesn't have any choice about where to go, just like a toddler doesn't have any choice as to where to go. The parent puts the child in a position. If you put your child in a position where they can get seriously injured because they are tiny and the other kids are bigger, well, that's your responsibility. So now you're going to explain to me how it's Mr. Daniels' responsibility to pay for the vet bills when he had his big dog in the big dog area.
Sure, absolutely. So, you know, on that day, as per usual, I took them to the park. They played a little bit on the smaller side. They went back onto the bigger side where we've interacted with similar dogs.
Just a second.
Yes.
Ms. Costa, you're going very fast. When you say you took them to the bigger side, in order to get them to the bigger side, do you have to go out the smaller side and purposely go into another gate to go into the larger side?
Yes.
So you left the small side, you went to the big side. And?
Correct. And we entered the park. To clarify, so she went off and played. They played for about half an hour. It's a very big park. So after she had played and interacted with the dogs who were there, who she knows, I went to sit in the chairs that are directly across from the entrance. And both Ellie and Prance were sitting next to me. And because I'm facing the entrance, I can see people who are coming in and out of the park. So I did see Mr. Daniels enter the park with his dog, take his dog off the leash. A lot of the dogs were congregated in a shade area. He went over, that dog went over. They played for a little bit, and then pretty quickly, his dog focused on a whippet dog, and that dog sort of started to scream and get scared and start to run towards the gate. I watched his dog chase that dog towards the gate. Other dogs followed, as dogs do in parks. The owners came. The owners took their dog, left the park. And I believe he took
the owner of the whippet.
Yes, correct.
Just the owner of the whippet came and took his dog and left.
Correct. And Mr. Daniels had his dog by the collar. He let go of his dog, and his dog ran very quickly towards the opposite end of the park, probably about 15 to 20 feet from where I was sitting. And he sort of immediately started to growl and be aggressive towards a larger Australian Shepherd.
Incorrect.
Just a second, Mr. Daniels.
Okay.
First of all, don't interrupt her. Second of all, you don't know that. You only had the dog 6 weeks. Okay, go ahead.
So I watched as his dog sort of acted aggressively towards this Australian Shepherd. The owner picked up the Shepherd. You know, it was a big dog, but he picked him up, to try to separate him. Once again, Mr. Daniels had his dog.
Just a second.
No.
Yes.
Ms. Costa, just a second.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
I told you not to interrupt.
Okay.
They hadn't been fighting.
They had not made contact. They were barking at each other very aggressively.
Correct. They were barking.
Very aggressively, yes.
That's not a...
Fine.
Sorry.
They were barking very aggressively. You're interrupting again, which is irritating.
Sorry, Your Honor.
So now, and?
Okay, so at that point, I said, no, this is not right. This does not look like it's going to go well. I'm going to take my dogs and leave. So I have a split leash to keep the two dogs on. So I put them both on the leash. I stood up. I started to walk towards the gate. I didn't get very far, probably 10 feet, and his dog ran over towards mine, again, barking aggressively. And so I tried to put my foot sort of in between the two dogs and pull my dog back on the leash to separate.
Which dog? You
Ellie.
had two dogs.
Yes, so Ellie, the terrier, she's the 22-pound dog. And so she's the one who interacted with his.
Yeah, just a second.
Yes, absolutely.
Ms. Costa, when his dog ran up to you and to Ellie and was barking, did Ellie bark?
After he growled the second time,
Mr.
yes.
Costa, so his dog barked and growled once, and then Ellie started to bark.
Yes.
Now the two dogs are barking at each other.
Correct. So I...
Just a second. So you have a 22-pound dog barking at a 90-pound dog.
Yes.
Are they facing each other?
Yes.
And you have yours on a leash.
Correct.
And Mr. Daniels does not have his on a leash.
Correct.
Is there any reason why you didn't pick Ellie up?
So
as soon as you saw his dog start to come over to where you were...
It happened so... I'm so sorry.
It happened so... You started to say it happened so quickly.
Yes. It happened so quickly, I could not get down to pick her up. He had already bitten her and had her in his mouth.
You lost me at that they were two dogs facing each other and barking at each other. And then you said it all happened so quickly. The Golden had the terrier in his mouth.
Your Honor, barking at each other, it's a split second of barking. I mean, it was probably 4 seconds from when the dog started barking, Ellie started to separate them, and immediately his dog had already bitten Ellie.
Now, you want to tell me what you saw, Mr. Daniels?
Sure. When I first got to the park, I let Jack off the leash, and he ran in the back with the other dogs. They kind of congregated near the back area. And tails were wagging, tongue was out, no barks, no growling. And then my dog looked at she said it was a whippet. I thought it was an Italian Greyhound. Either way, the dog was probably 10 pounds dripping wet. And it did. It sounded like a squeaky toy. And so it started to run, and all
But
the
it was
dogs...
also a small dog.
It should not have been there. Absolutely, Your Honor. So
it should not have been there.
All the dogs chased him, and that's where she's referring to the incident of my dog showing signs of aggression, which I completely disagree with.
Okay, and then?
So me and another guy, we kind of ran towards the dogs because we were chasing along with it because, obviously we want to stop the situation. So he got there first. He picked up the small dog over his head and kind of, did one of these. And sure, it had some dust on it, but there was no... And during that time frame, there was no growling, bare teeth, no aggressive behavior. It was a dog playing
It was
chase.
sufficient, Mr. Daniels. It was sufficient so that the owner of the small dog, who I don't think belonged in that park,
Agreed.
went over to his dog, it out to make sure it wasn't injured, because he was afraid, it appeared to you, that maybe his dog had gotten into some sort of a kerfuffle with your dog.
It's possible. I don't believe so because there was about 6 or 7 other dogs in that area, and he wasn't the dog owner. He was just a guy who was trying to stop.
Mr. Daniels.
Yes?
Try not to zig and zag.
Okay.
This is my business.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You said Jack went over to the plaintiff's dog in a friendly way and just tried to sniff her. The plaintiff's dog panicked, and it snapped and lunged at Jack's nose.
That's what it appeared.
That's not what you just told me.
Gemma Coster says a dog owned by Michael Daniels attacked and injured her terrier, Ellie.
Okay, you ran over there with the owner of the 10-pound dog because you wanted to make sure that there was no damage done, not by the whippet to your dog, but by your dog to the whippet. Is that a fair statement?
Sure.
Okay, so now you are aware of the fact that, well, you should be alerted to the capacity to has the capacity to cause alarm to both you and the owner of the whippet.
If I didn't chase after my dog during that incident, I would be a negligent dog owner. Of course I want to... If you heard a squeaky dog...
That's not what I said to you, sir.
Okay.
Now you are in a position so that you know that your dog has the capacity to not only cause concern to you, so that you ran over there, but to the owner of the small dog.
That wasn't his dog.
That's clear that you were aware of that. So were you.
Yes.
That's when you should have left the park. According to you, what you saw was this dog being aggressive towards a small dog that already really wasn't supposed to be in that area, and you had 2 small dogs. Now, if I had my 2 small dogs in the large dog area, and I saw another small dog being potentially the victim of a larger aggressive dog, that's when I would say, you know what? I'm getting out of this large dog area. I'm taking my dog back to the small dog area where the largest dog can't be more than 30 pounds. That's what I would have done as the parent. That's your responsibility. The dog can't take himself or herself to the small dog. So did you. Now, how much after this first, what you described as aggressive behavior, was there some sort of Mr. Daniels kerfuffle with another dog where another owner picked their dog up and left? Come on. Was it a minute? Was it 2 minutes? Was it 3 minutes? Was it 5 minutes?
Well, I don't actually remember the incident with the dog that she's talking about.
If you don't remember it, I'll let her describe it to me. How much time elapsed between the first incident that you saw and the second?
Less than a minute. He had let go of his dog, and it immediately ran to the other end of the park and got into the altercation with the second dog.
Okay. So now, Mr. Daniels, you want to describe to me the interaction as you saw it between Miss Coster's dog, Ellie, terrier, and your dog?
Sure.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was walking back from the incident with the smaller dog, and Jack was back playing with the other dogs, and it was about the time when I had walked back there. It's about 150 feet. And when I got to that area, I'm walking towards my dog, and there's a skirmish, a scuffle. There's 2 dogs, and then, boom, it just happened, and it ended with her dog getting bit. He didn't latch onto the dog. It wasn't, like a vicious attack. Unfortunately, it was a dog just reacting to another small dog that shouldn't have been there.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, but that is not true.
Just a second.
Okay.
Actually, what you said to me was, it happened in a split second, because I said, why didn't you pick up your dog? You said the whole thing happened in a split second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you rescue a dog, before you allow that dog to be free in a situation where they can cause injury...
We had 9 training sessions.
The training sessions clearly didn't work.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gemma Coster claims a dog owned by Michael Daniels attacked her terrier at a dog park.
Now, Mr. Daniels, there's no question that your dog injured hers. And what you said to me in your answer was actually not truthful. You said Jack went over to the plaintiff's dog in a friendly way and just tried to sniff her. Jack is a big dog, so the plaintiff's dog panicked. That's
opinion.
That's what you think. And it snapped and lunged at Jack's nose.
That's what it appeared.
Well, that's not you. That's not, just a second. That's not what you just told me. That's not what you just told me.
Okay.
So now I want to see the vet bills from Ellie, who I assume is okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what are the vet bills?
Sure, let me show you. I also have the summary, the discharge summaries, in case you wanted to see the injuries sustained, but I will show you the bills first.
I would like to see the discharge summary as well after I see the bills.
Sure. So I have 2 bills. Do you want me to put them up one at a time?
Yeah, just tell me what the aggregate amount is.
Sure. So the aggregate amount is $4,591.72, and it's the total of 2 bills.
Okay. Now I'm going to see the discharge summary, please.
So here's the discharge summary. And here is the diagnosis of the initial injuries.
Okay. So this is what I think. I think that when you take your dog to a dog park and take it off leash, you assume certain risks. That's why I just never take my dog to a dog park. But I understand a lot of people do. Good for them. But the dog park people are smart enough to say, keep small dogs with small dogs and big dogs with big dogs. I think that it is unwise to place your dog in a situation where they can get this kind of puncture wound and crushed ribs from a dog that is 3 or 4 times its weight. I also think, sir, that when you rescue a dog that is an older dog, a dog that's fully cooked at 3 years old, before you allow that dog to be free in a situation where they can cause injury.
9 training sessions.
Just the training sessions clearly didn't work.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, so I actually think that while you are partially responsible, Mr. Daniels, for the injuries that resulted in her dog being hospitalized for 3 days, which was quite a bill because vets are expensive. I also, Ms. Costa, think that you bear some responsibility. And you bear the responsibility of being an overly indulgent parent. Because if your 22-pound dog likes to play with big dogs, and you say, well, I'm going to take that risk that my dog could get seriously hurt by a big dog, couldn't get seriously hurt by a 10-pound whippet in the small dog area, but could get hurt by a 3-year-old rescue dog that the person really doesn't know intimately because they haven't raised it since it's a puppy and they really don't know what its potential is. So you had vet bills of $45.92, and each one of you is going to be responsible for half. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $22.96. Thank you. We're done.
And on the next Judge Judy.
Bottom line is, a small dog came into a large dog park that shouldn't have been there.
Size has absolutely nothing to do with it. His dog was aggressive.
Things happen, but that's not my fault or my dog's fault.
I'm so happy that she's okay. It was really scary.
Somebody's usually responsible for an accident.
A disputed path to their crash.
I was trying to get into this lane here.
But she was already in that lane.
No, I wasn't even in that lane.
I'm actually liking this case.
Now their conflict is at a crossroads.
He's 100% at fault when he hit my car.
Well, they only sent her 50%. She wants the whole thing. What do you think?
This is Judge Judy. Meredith Less is suing fellow motorist William Frankie for an accident on the road.
Judge, this is case number 42 on the calendar in the matter of Les versus Frankie. Parties are sworn in.
Miss Les, you had a car accident with the defendant over a year ago.
Correct.
You claimed that the accident was his fault. You did nothing about it for a year. Now you say that we have COVID, you had enough time to have your car fixed, so now you're pursuing. You were driving a 2009 Lincoln, and I assume you had liability insurance, but not collision.
Correct.
With whom were you insured?
Geico?
Do you still have the car?
Yes, I do.
And Mr. Frankie, what kind of a car were you driving on August 24th of 2019?
A Toyota Prius.
What year?
2012.
And did you have liability and or collision on the car?
Yes, I had full coverage.
Full?
Yeah.
With what company?
Kemper?
From my information, when you had this accident, did you exchange information with Miss Les? Did you give her your insurance card and your registration and your license?
Yeah. I don't remember about the license and registration, but I definitely gave her my insurance.
You had never met Mr. Frankie before, is that right?
That's correct.
So if you had an accident that you allege was his fault and you decided not to call the police to the accident, I assume you were satisfied that you had sufficient contact information for him.
Correct. We exchanged all information.
So you had his insurance card?
Correct.
When did you notify his insurance company?
I contacted my insurance that day, and they started the process. And then I got in touch with Kemper within a few days, and they had...
Happened?
I submitted all the photos and information through the app they told me to download, and then that was it. And then I think within a month I got information regarding what the estimate for repairs would be.
Okay, did you get a check from his insurance company?
In July of this year, but I haven't done anything with it because...
What was the check that you got from Kemper Insurance?
It was 50% of the estimated repair costs.
Would you please tell me what was the amount of the check?
The amount was $715.43.
And when you accepted the check, you signed a document that said that that was in full satisfaction of your claim.
No, I did not.
You had to, otherwise they're not going to send you a check.
Well, what happened was I took the car to a mechanic, and they called the insurance, and we're speaking with them, and they said they would send over a check. And then when I got the check, I called because it was for half the amount when they said they were going to pay 100% of the estimated repair cost.
Did you cash the check?
No. I have the check physically with me.
It?
Yes.
Great. Take it out. Great. Okay. Very good. I'm actually liking this case. It's your car.
Through Kemper,
I'd like
yes.
to take a look at it because, Mr. Frankie, if your insurance company sent her a check, they found that you were at fault. Your insurance company found you were at fault. You understand that?
Correct, 50% from my understanding.
Well, they only sent her 50%. Your understanding from what she says is she got 50%. Your insurance company found you were sufficiently at fault to send her a check.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to tell me about the accident in a second. Would you just put up on my evidence screen the estimate of having the car fixed?
Yes, I already did.
$1,430. Okay, great. Now would you show me the damage to the car?
I have two photos. Here's the first one. It's the right passenger side above the wheel fender area.
Mm-hmm. Now, you have a check. So the estimate is for $1,430.
Correct.
To fix it. You got a check for them for $715. Can you tell me why you're suing him for $1,430?
Well, I'm suing him for the full amount because he's 100% at fault when he hit my car.
Yeah, but you already have a check for half.
Okay, so when I spoke with my insurance adjuster, he said you either accept the check they sent or you take Mr. Williams to court. So, because I'm here today.
Okay, so you have that check.
Correct.
You have that check. Take it back and put it on your desk. Now, who was making a left turn? Were you both preparing to make a left turn?
No.
I was preparing to make a left turn.
Okay. And was Miss Les in front or behind you?
She came from behind me.
All right, Miss Les, you're driving down, you're driving in the same direction. You're in the left lane, he's in the left lane. He was looking to make a left turn?
So I was in the middle lane on the street. He was in the lane to my right. And he was somewhat behind me. Like, we weren't head-to-head on that. So when I kept going and then he decided to turn, he hit the front passenger side of my car. I was going straight.
You were going straight, and he says you were making a left turn?
I was getting into the turn lane to make a left turn.
But she was in the middle.
Yeah,
You were on her right.
I was on her right, correct.
I'm trying to visualize
I have
this.
some pictures.
She's in the middle lane, you're on the right lane.
Correct.
Oh, I'd like to see them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, great. Oh, that's better.
I'm the blue car.
I'm not following. You're both going in which
So-
direction? Point to the direction that you're
So we're
going. I
going-
see where her car is.
We're going this way.
In that direction.
Correct. Just come from this direction on a street, and I took a left turn onto La Brea here. So I took a left turn.
Okay.
And I intended to go up here to take another left down here. In this,
Okay,
so
but
I wanted to get.
but she's in your space.
So yes, I think she was. I assumed she was also intending to take a left turn on to Romaine from La Brea here. That's what I assumed, because I was trying to get into this turn lane here. And there's...
Right, but she was already in that lane.
So I did not see her in this lane. I thought that you had to... I think she came from here into this turn lane, and I was going into this turn lane. I was going into this turn lane to get here.
I see that.
I hit her here because I'm assuming she was going to go straight through to take a left turn also.
She was going straight.
Correct.
No, she
But
said she
that's
was
what
going
she said,
straight. You
yeah.
were not making a left turn.
No, I wasn't even in
Is that
that
right?
lane.
She was in this turn lane.
I
So
was in the middle
you
lane.
want to show me where you were?
Sure, I would love
You
to.
want to show me where you were?
And I wouldn't be making a turn because I know I was heading to Los Feliz, where I'd be making a right onto Sunset. So,
okay.
Found.
And you're going straight.
Correct.
And he's all the way on your right.
Correct.
And he wanted to get over to make a left turn.
Correct.
I got it. Did you have any damage to your car, sir?
the damage was very minimal. I have a picture of my mirror, but it was very minimal. Do you want to see the picture?
Well, is the mirror what hit her car?
That's what I thought hit her car. I'm not sure. I think when I have pictures of her car and I see that her mirror, it looked like I hit her mirror and possibly her fender.
Okay.
But I was unsure if I hit the fender when I saw the damage.
Okay. Mr. Frankie, you know, it's an accident. It's not an on purpose. It's an accident. Somebody's usually responsible for an accident. Sometimes it's both people's fault, but usually it's one person's fault. That looks to me, what I saw, that this accident was your fault. You were in the right lane trying to get over to the left lane, and you hit her car. Didn't cause a lot of damage to yours. It's an accident, right? You had insurance. Your insurance company copped out. Her damage was $1,400. They paid her $7,000. She wants the whole thing. What do you think?
I know that I was intending to go into, I'd already went this direction, the opposite direction, past Romaine to go to Willoughby, which is further down if you want to look. Willoughby is down here. There's a parking structure for Target off of Romaine over here that I intended to go to. And you can only get there from going to Romaine. You can't get there from the other direction. So I went down, made a U-turn on Willoughby, came back.
I understand exactly what you're saying to me, sir, but
Okay,
you were in
can I
the
show
right
you-
lane going to the left lane.
Can I show you another picture then?
And you hit her.
Yes.
She didn't hit you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't think
Are you-
anybody's
is- is
driving
what
in
you-
the parking area.
Sometimes you can in California because if there's no parking between certain times and certain times.
Oh, this is
there
true. You're right.
And later today,
What special thing about this pontoon boat motivated you to spend 3 times as much as you could have for cash?
Meredith Less says fellow motorist William Frankie merged into her lane and ran into her car.
Now, she didn't hit you. You hit her.
But there's a flaw in the other picture that she showed.
Okay, I'd like to see it.
So if you would bring up that picture that she showed, you can see this Google map right here, whichever
I'm
you'd like to
terrible
look
at those
at.
things.
This right here.
Well,
you
let
can
me see the Google map. They confuse me usually.
So right here, I can turn it so it's the same as the chart.
Okay, better.
Okay, so here's Romaine. We're going up here. This is the turn lane. You can see the arrow right there.
No, I understand that. Where was your car?
So do you see that?
Was your car in the right lane?
The parking spots right here, where you can park your car. So
yes,
I was
is what you're telling me there were parked cars there?
Yeah,
were there cars parked there?
I parked there. I pulled off the road and parked there from.
For what?
From after I got hit here, I pulled right over here, and I have a picture showing where my car was parked right after that.
Well, you didn't get hit because your car hit her.
Yeah, so I parked right there. I was trying to get into this turn lane, and I don't think anybody's driving in this in the parking area, was what I'm saying. There's two other lanes here.
Well, sometimes you can in California, because if there's no parking between certain times and certain times, a whole...
Oh, this is true. You're right.
Streets. There are streets where you're not allowed to park at all during certain times, and there's free-flowing traffic there.
Actually, you're right.
Yes,
and it was at 7 o'clock, which is a rush hour.
So that would, on Wilshire, for instance, you're not allowed to park after 4 o'clock on Wilshire in the park lane.
This is correct.
Mr. Frankie, I think that you owe the plaintiff $715, and then she's got the check from your insurance company. Now you're whole. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $715. We're done. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
She makes the final call.
She looked to the evidence and saw the truth in what transpired that day.
I came in here just trusting that justice would prevail, and I kind of trust the final call.
He stated he was fiddling with the GPS.
Accidents happen.
Trying to get the car fixed.
All parties in the matter of Vasugi versus Hill, step to the podium, please.
Hamid and Susan Vasugi are suing William Hill for the cost of a pontoon boat, a boat motor, and registration fees.
Mr. and Mrs. Vasugi, you purchased what you call a party boat.
Yes.
From the defendant, spent a lot of money not only for the boat, but for parts for it, for furniture for it, and now claim that you can't register it because of certain problems with the defendant's registration, and that you ordered a motor for the boat from him, gave him money for the motor for the boat, which he has not put in to the boat.
Yes.
Correct.
So do you have a photograph of this boat that you purchased from the defendant?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Are those pontoons on either side?
Yes.
So it's a pontoon boat?
Yes.
And this pontoon boat is 30 years old, according to your complaint?
Yes, it's a 1989.
And how much do you claim that you paid the defendant for it?
$6,500 cash and $547 DMV fees.
You paid him, according to you, $6,500 in cash. Now, my question to you, Ms. Vasugi, before we go any further is, why would you pay him $6,500 in cash if you're a functional illiterate on the internet, as I am, and you can go on the internet and you can buy a 1989 pontoon boat for anywhere from $2,500 to $5,500? And I have owned a pontoon boat. So I would like you to tell me what special thing about this pontoon boat motivated you to spend 3 times as much as you could have for cash than you could have any place else where I'm looking on the internet.
The body of the boat is in good condition, the pontoons and the body.
Yes.
We were going to replace all the furniture, and we wanted to fix the current boat.
You did?
We have some boating experience.
Just a second. You know, Mrs. Vasugi, I'm not buying that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So far you've spent $16,000 on a boat with no proof that the money went to him when you could have bought a 31-year-old boat for $5,000.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Hamid and Susan Vasugi claim William Hill sold them a pontoon boat with no title or registration.
Okay, now after you paid him allegedly $6,500 for the boat, you invested a whole lot of other money in it. Tell me what other money you invested in the boat, because I need that for my record.
Sure. We bought some furniture for the boat. This is patio furniture.
I have that here. And how much did you pay? Just a second. And how much did you pay for the furniture?
About, it was $3,260.
So far, you're up to almost $10,000.
Yes.
For this
and we ordered
30-year-old boat.
A bimini top.
What kind of work do you and your husband do?
We're retired. We sold a car.
I'd like you to show me.
For the money to do this.
To whom?
To an individual who paid us cash. I have the
his phone number.
It has his name.
Well, get me his name and his phone number. I'd like to know exactly how much this person paid you for your boat.
For our vehicle. No, this was for our
car.
vehicle.
He says he paid you. Just a second. It says he paid Mr. Klein, who I could call. I'm sure you have his number because there's an address there.
Yes, we do. We do.
It says he paid $8,000 in May of 2020. Well, the date has changed on that bill of sale to it was something else before.
Yes.
Somebody tried to write May 18th.
And I have his phone number if you'd like to call him. But we sold him a 2008 Mercedes-Benz E350. He gave us $8,000 in cash, and that's what we used to purchase the boat.
That's not what you say in your complaint, madam.
Well, we considered
you said you decided to sell. No. In your complaint, you say, we decided to sell our speedboat and buy a patio boat to cruise around. So far, you've spent $10,000
we didn't
on a
sell
boat
the
that you
speedboat.
could buy.
We still have it.
No, so far, just a second. So far, Ms. Vasugi, you've spent $10,000, and that's before the motor that you said you bought from him. You spent $10,000 on new furniture, $6,500 for a boat that you could have bought for $3,500. So we're up to almost $10,000. And how much money did you give him for the motor?
$6,100.
And do you have a check for that cleared?
Yes.
And I'd like to see.
It's not actually a check. We took cash from the bank for $6,000, and then we had $1,000 out of our pocket. $100 out of our pocket.
Miss Vasugi, so far you've spent $16,000 on a boat with no proof that the money went to him when you could have bought a 31-year-old boat for $5,000.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
All right, so I'm going to tell you this, Miss Vasugi. I may be a skeptic, but I'm dismissing your case without prejudice. You go back to your local small claims court, and if they buy your evidence, good for you. I don't.
I mean,
do you understand?
I don't understand because I have proof of everything I spent. He gave me stickers that don't even belong to my boat.
What I'm telling you is neither you nor your husband look like foolish people. I don't believe in your cash transactions that amount to...
Your Honor.
Just a second. They may, and someone may believe you. I don't. You're no worse for your arrival here. You go back to your local small claims court and convince a judge, just like me. So I'm dismissing your case without prejudice because I don't buy it. Got it?
Okay.
Hope you have it.
Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
The boat was worth that much money.
I was happy with the decision.
We never got a title or registration. We were given invalid stickers and an invalid license plate.
I have all the titles.
I guess we'll take it back to court.
I'd like it to be done.
The virus sparked an idea.
When COVID struck, you decided to branch out on your own and have a mobile beauty salon.
Then she got in a tangle
How did she defame you?
with her former salon.
She displayed on Facebook that I owed her $1,200.
You filed the restraining order against her because she threatened to put a gun to your head.
This is Judge Judy. Hairdresser Sean T. Jackson Washington is suing salon owner Lucretia Munns.
Judge, this is case number 52 on the calendar in the matter of Jackson, Washington versus Munns. Parties have been sworn in. Ladies can have a seat.
Thank you. Miss Washington, you're a hairdresser.
Yes.
And so is the defendant, correct?
Yes.
For some time, you rented a chair in the defendant's salon. When did you start renting a chair to do your work in her salon?
It was around 1.5 years ago.
How much did you pay her? Did you pay her per week, per month?
$100 a week.
And Miss Munn, do you own the salon or do you lease it from someone else?
I own the business, but I lease the shopping center where my salon stands.
That's what I'm It's your business. I understand that. But the premises is not a premises that you own. You lease it.
Correct.
How long have you leased the premises and from whom?
For 2 years from Jake's Plaza. The landlord's name is Abraham.
How much do you pay in rent?
$1,200.
And I assume you have a lease.
Yes, I do.
When does that lease expire?
It goes month to month. It started month to month in April.
April of 2020, it started to go month to month. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Prior to the governor of California shutting down because of the pandemic all beauty salons, was Miss Washington paying her $100? The governor closed beauty salons in March.
March 19th, yes.
Very close to the time when your lease was up in the salon.
Yes.
And you were going month to month.
Correct.
Did you pay rent to Jake's Plaza for the salon in April of 2020?
I paid it in June for April. Yes.
That's not what I asked you. You did not pay it in April.
No, I did not pay it in April.
Did you pay rent to Jake's in May?
No, I did not pay it in May.
Then the governor allowed salons to open.
Correct. For 2 weeks.
Did you pay anything in June?
Yes.
How much?
$3,600.
Did the governor permit salons to remain open?
No. He shut them down 2 weeks later.
And that's after you had paid up your rent?
Correct.
Because you hadn't paid rent in April and May. He or Jake's Plaza was not going to let you back into the building unless you made up the rent.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. Now we're all set on that. Now, it is your claim that when COVID struck, you decided that it was a perfect opportunity for you to try to branch out on your own and have a mobile beauty salon.
Yes.
Very inventive, very smart. A couple of items that you left behind in the salon when it was closed.
Not true.
Yes.
Some hair extensions.
Yes.
No, she didn't leave any extensions.
Yes. Now, did you have an opportunity to go into the salon and take your items? The answer is yes.
Yes.
And I assume that you had a lot of items there because you were working there.
I didn't have a lot of items. Basically, the things that I had was underneath my station.
And where were these extensions?
The extensions were in a bag that was under next to, inside of the salon.
Where?
They were next to a microwave that was in a cabinet underneath.
That's my hair. She's not telling the truth.
Just a second. You should have taken them. Do you have her hair extensions?
No, I do not. I sell hair.
Hair extensions? No. You should have taken them when you left. Okay. The next part of your lawsuit is defamation of character.
Yes.
How did she defame you?
Facebook is where you advertise your business. You have thousands of people who are your friends on Facebook, and whatever.
I don't have 1,000. Just a second. So listen to me. I know what Facebook is.
Okay.
I don't have 1,000 friends. That's why I'm not on Facebook. You know, it would get very lonely in there with them that I like. So I communicate with them on the phone. So you're lucky if you have thousands of people who watch you on Facebook. My question was a simple one. How did she defame you? What did she say, and in what venue did she say it?
She displayed on Facebook that I owed her $1,200 in booth rent.
Never.
And she had all these stylists and different people commenting. I have...
Just 1 second. May I see what you're complaining about?
Yes.
Because what she says is you owe her $1,200 in booth rent, and I would assume that that's booth rent after the governor had closed the salon and you were not paying rent.
No,
but
still...
after June, when you started to pay rent, and you did make up your rent. So I would, let me see, I have to do a Karnak. Anybody know who Karnak was? What's in this envelope?
No.
I would assume that these Facebook posts were made sometime after June.
Yes, they were actually made on the 13th of September.
Of September?
Yes.
Oh, she must have been very angry. Okay.
Yes.
May I see that, please? Yeah. Well, you know, just like the same to you. That's exactly what happened.
Judge Judy,
may I please see what you're complaining about?
Okay. This is her question on Facebook. And
okay, just a second. This question is for independent hair salons. Is that what you're complaining about, where she defamed you?
No, I have 18 pages.
Show me where she defamed you on Facebook.
These are all Facebook.
She rented out rooms. Where is your name in there?
She never said my name because she knew proper protocol on Facebook. However, I do have a witness here that read what she put on Facebook. She called me.
May I see your name anywhere?
She knew not to say my name, and she told her witnesses not to say my name.
Okay, that's dismissed. We have nothing. Let's get to your counterclaim. Ms. Munns, this is your counterclaim. You say that she filed a restraining order against you that had no basis.
No basis at all, Your Honor.
Miss Washington, pay attention.
I'm paying attention.
Did you file a
I have a Facebook.
Just a second. You say you filed the restraining order against her because she threatened to put a gun to your head.
Yes,
That's what you say?
Yes.
Did she say that to you?
No,
personally?
she said it
Or did
on
she
Facebook.
write it somewhere? I'd like to see it.
Okay.
I speak the truth. If anyone thought they could sneak up on my husband, I'm pressing something upside the head. Okay, you felt threatened by that. Is that what you're telling me?
I felt threatened by everything that she said, from calling my husband and fake on Facebook.
Okay.
I have my witness here that read it on Facebook, and she knew, along with the 4 people on my voicemail, that she was talking about me and my husband.
Miss Washington.
Yes.
Pay attention. We're finished with your lawsuit. I've dismissed that lawsuit.
All right.
Now I'm on her counterclaim. Her counterclaim is that you filed a false protective order against her. Your defense is that while she was careful on Facebook not to mention you by name, when she threatened to put something against somebody's head.
Yes.
That's what you're telling me.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, Ms. Munns, I'm going to deal with the part of your counterclaim that deals with filing a false restraining order. That's dismissed.
Why is that dismissed?
I'm going to explain it to you.
Okay.
Because the plaintiff believed that as a result of your Facebook posts, she believed that you were talking about her. Now, you probably were.
I was absolutely not.
And when there is a hint of a threat, which there was.
Can I please
in
pick
that
this up? Because
Facebook.
that is
No.
I'm literally
I'm telling you, I
speaking.
read it. She felt threatened, reasonably so, because the other Facebook posts, while they don't mention her by name, I believe she had reason to believe that you were referencing her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You didn't pay your rent when you were supposed to, and the only way you got back into your shop was to pay up the 2 months that you didn't pay. That's when you got angry and said to her, I want my rent.
And later today,
You ate and paid rent, and then you continued to live there and not pay rent. Why would you think you're entitled to the rent back?
hairdresser Sean T. Jackson Washington says salon owner Lucretia Munns defamed her on Facebook. Lucretia is countersuing for stolen and damaged property, rent, and loss of business.
Now, what property did she take without permission?
A human hair wig that she wore and used.
Okay, just a sec. Hey, tell me the things that she took without your permission. A wig, and what else?
And a blow dryer.
Do you have those things, Miss Washington?
Yes, I have them with me today.
You have the wig and the blow dryer.
Yes.
Give them to her.
We don't want...
Give them to her.
She's been personally wearing them. They're saturated. I can't resell them. That's saturated.
Done.
That no one is going to repurchase it.
Done. Okay, now the last part of your counterclaim is for rent. For what period of time are you alleging that she owes you rent?
It's also for damages to the floor. She owes me
for what period of time
from
do you
April
allege she
1st
owes you rent?
until she said that she was
dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much.
What about the damage to
Did you
my
pay
floor?
rent? Did you?
Yes, I did. And here's
did
my
you pay rent
canceled checks.
No.
Here's all my canceled
Just a
checks.
second.
I paid them all.
No.
I paid all the rent.
Yeah, Miss Munn, let's understand this. You didn't pay rent in April. You didn't pay rent in May.
It says right
When
here, rent for July, May, and April. So I did pay it.
You're not getting
I'm not
over
trying
on
to
me.
get over on you. I'm trying to explain something
Well,
to you.
then you have to.
Can I please explain this to you?
I understand.
When we were shut down, we didn't have
it.
money to pay those bills. As soon as we got our pandemic relief to pay our bills, she was still responsible for her portion of the rent. She rents a space to run a business out of, just like at your house and your business. I paid it.
You know, I'm not a moderator. Cut off her mic. You didn't pay your rent when you were supposed to, and the only way you got back into your shop was to pay up the 2 months that you didn't pay, and then the governor shut you down again. That's when you got angry and said to her, I want my rent. Goodbye. We're done. Finito.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
We were all supposed to pay our rent.
Jealous of what I got planned, my mobile hair salon.
I wish her the best in that.
She was paid, and she was trying to get money from me. She was trying to...
Patience is a salon independent contractor.
The friendship is done forever.
All parties in the matter of Taylor versus Wild, step to the podium, please.
Michael Taylor is suing his former landlord, Lucy Wild, for the return of rent and relocation costs after an illegal lockout.
Let me see if I understand this case. It seems, Mr. Taylor, that you and your mother moved into a premises as tenants in September of 2019, premises that was owned by the defendant. At the time you moved into that place, that area, you had, in fact, seen it. And it was, in fact, according to you, in a state of disrepair, needed a window. But you moved in anyway. And you lived there in September, and you paid rent.
Yes.
And how much rent did you pay?
It was $1,400 a month.
You paid $1,400 in September, $1,400 in October, $1,400 in November.
Yes.
And I assume that both you and your mother work in order to make this money.
My mother was not working at the time. I was working.
What kind of work do you do?
I am a bartender, waiter in the hospitality industry, and I also am a music producer.
Then in December, you and your mother were still living there, but you did not pay rent.
No,
correct?
that's not true. I paid rent.
In December?
In December.
Now, at some point, you called some housing authority
Yes.
to register complaints about the house. When did you do that?
I made my complaint in December.
Okay. As a result of that complaint, the city where you live sent out an inspector.
Yes.
And after the inspection, the premises were found to be premises that should not be rented.
Correct.
Is that correct, Ms. Wild?
Yes, it is.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you are renting out an apartment and it's an illegal apartment, a court can't give you rent for that. Even though he ate the steak. And you know, I don't approve of eating the steak and then complaining.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Taylor says his former landlord, Lucy Wild, owes for the return of rent and relocation costs after an illegal lockout. Lucy is countersuing for unpaid rent.
Okay. Does anybody have a photograph of where you were living?
I do have some pictures, yes.
Could I see it, please?
Sure.
You and your mother lived there. You evidently, it's a sort of an attic-y loft kind of place.
Correct. It was.
Is that correct?
It was a loft.
Does it have a bathroom?
It does.
It does. Okay. Very good. But they said she shouldn't have been renting it because it probably wasn't zoned. I mean, the place looks totally reasonable. Okay. So after that, you knew, Miss Wild, that you shouldn't be renting it, even though he and his mother were perfectly comfortable there, September, October, November, and December, because you stayed January, February, March, April, and May, and didn't pay rent, right?
I paid rent in January, and then I didn't pay rent in February and on. Yeah.
Well, okay, so you paid rent in January. Why?
I didn't.
You liked it.
Well,
I did
like it. And
Great.
I paid rent.
So you liked it? Then why did you stop in February?
Because the city told me that it was an illegal unit and it was illegal for her to collect rent.
Now, you're suing because you want your money back that you paid her.
Yes.
You ate the steak. You know what that means? If you go into a restaurant and you order a steak and the steak comes out and you taste it and you say, gee, this steak is terrible. I can't eat this steak. And you call the wait staff over, you're that business, and you say, I can't chew this steak. It feels like rubber. I'm sending it to pay for it. Not if you eat the steak and then call over the wait staff and say, you know what, I ate that steak. I really didn't like it, and I'm not going to pay for it. You and your mother lived in a place, and while you were living there, you paid rent. And then you continued to live there and not pay rent. Why would you think you're entitled to the rent back? Had you ever rented that space before, Miss Wild?
Yes, one other time. That was news to me that it was not a registered rental when he...
And when you called the whatever housing authority you called, what was your complaint?
My complaint was that I was still missing the window because she hadn't installed the window. And, well, that was it. Because after months of trying to get them to do the work, I did research on habitability and tenant rights, and having an open window like that could be an issue and be deemed as an illegal unit. So that was the initial complaint.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you understand, Miss Wild, you have a countersuit, and your countersuit is for the time that but you do understand, Miss Wild, that if you are renting out an apartment and it's an illegal apartment, for whatever reason, a court can't give you rent for that. You do understand that, right? That would be silly. I mean, if the state says you're not allowed to rent that apartment, and what your countersuit is for the rent that he didn't pay when he was living there, I can't do that, even though he ate the steak. And, you know, I don't approve of eating the steak and then complaining. Do you understand, Mr. Taylor?
I do.
Good.
Coming from the hospitality.
Your claim is dismissed, as is your countersuit. We're done. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy...
Her car was totaled. She ended up in the hospital the day of the accident. Was there insurance on it? If not, I'm going to make you look so ridiculous.
There was no insurance on it.
Judge Judy.
There was a reason why I called Housing Authority. It was because she hadn't done work for months that was making my house uninhabitable.
No, they had a gorgeous place. It was beautiful.
It was like living in a circus.
I think that's what they do.
I was due relocation costs because that's why I didn't move.
They're just squatters.
A tenant left no physical damage.
Why didn't you return her security?
But
she tried to start fights regularly.
Will the landlord ever recover?
She called the police 7 times on me, terrorizing me. I'm scared. I'm shaking. I need therapy after dealing with this female. I didn't do anything wrong.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop.
Whatever you say, Judge Judy.
This is Judge Judy. 23-year-old Sarah Rolak is suing her former landlord, Anna Belacqua, for the return of rent and security deposit, an illegal eviction, and assault.
Judges, case number 91 on the calendar, the matter of Rolak versus Belacqua. Parties have been sworn in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Rolak, you rented a room from the defendant over a year ago.
Correct.
And you moved out of that room because of what you allege was harassment, whatever, but that was over a year ago.
Correct.
And your lawsuit has several components. One is some rent return. One is for your security deposit. A lot of it has to do with this terrorizing that each of you claim the other is responsible for, which I assume that you've gone on leading your life for the last year and a half, other than the pandemic, right?
Yes.
And you found another place to live?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're happy at the other place to live?
Yes.
And you are not engaged in serious therapy after you left her house?
No.
No. So let's deal with the easy bread and butter part of your lawsuit, which is the return of your security deposit. Okay?
Okay.
Great. You moved into the room when?
April of 2019.
And how much was the rent?
Rent was originally $1,190, and then after the first month, since the Wi-Fi did not work, she allowed me to...
Don't go. But listen to me. Don't want to hear about the Wi-Fi not working. Not important with regard to your security deposit.
Right.
Did the rent ever change from $1,119?
Yes, it did.
No,
It did.
190.
I don't speak. Don't speak until I speak to you. You understand each other?
Yes. Yes,
Perfect.
Your Honor.
Perfect. Did it remain $1,119?
No, it did not.
When did it change?
That first month in April, after the first 2 weeks, I let Anna know that the Wi-Fi wasn't working,
Okay.
which is why it went to $1,160 afterwards.
1,160.
60. Yes.
Did you pay April's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay June's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay July's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay August's rent?
Yes.
You moved out on August 21st.
Correct.
According to your papers. Now I'm talking to you. Did Miss Rolak pay her rent in April?
She paid 1190, so yes.
Did she pay rent in May?
She did, however, she was $30 short on
She paid
each following month.
$1,160.
Correct. That's
Just a
$30 short of the amount she agreed to pay at move-in.
Look at my direction. You accepted her rent in May of $1,160. Did you accept that rent? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
Did you pay by check or cash?
I paid via Venmo app.
I have the receipt.
Venmo.
Yeah, it's like cash.
So you accepted it. You didn't return it to her. That's a yes.
Yes.
In June, did you accept her rent of $1,160?
Yes.
In July, did you accept her rent?
Yes.
In August, did you accept her rent?
Yes.
Did you have a written lease?
Yes. It was partially
For how long?
typed out. I'd have to double check on the dates for the lease agreement, but I know.
You have a copy of the lease easily accessible.
Yes.
May I see it, please? Okay, very good. 4 to 6 months. All right, nobody signs a lease from 4 to 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She was there for the 5 months anyway. Okay, that's it. I don't have to see any more. Very good. Now, did you pay a security deposit?
I gave her cash, yes.
I don't have any proof of that.
I didn't ask you whether you had proof, and you interrupted again.
Excuse me.
Did you give her security deposit?
I gave her $800 cash for the security deposit.
When?
I think it was like March 28th. It was a few days before I moved in. We sat down and I gave her the cash for the lease.
But the rent you paid by this app?
Correct, yes.
Tell me why.
It was just easier for me because I got, the weekly checks and I don't like to carry cash around with me. It seems kind of silly, but I just rather pay via Venmo.
Okay. When you moved in April, did you pay her first and last month's rent or just first month's rent and security?
Just the first month and security.
Now, let's be very careful in your response to me. Understand?
Yes.
Is what you're telling me that she did not pay you security?
No, I'm saying I don't have a receipt for it. I don't have any
okay.
record that it was received.
Which are just things. If you have no receipt, that's one thing. If you don't have a memory of it, then I have to rely on her memory of it.
I would let no one move in without paying deposit.
So it's fair to say that she paid security.
Assumedly so, yes.
Yes, of course. Okay, now we have you paying your rent, the rent being accepted for a 5-month period. You moved out, you had an altercation with her, which you will maybe tell me, maybe not. I would like you, because now the ball is in your court, for you to show me any damage that she caused that ate up her security, which clearly you didn't give back to her.
Your Honor, the damages of the room were minimal. I just had to clean it and replace the shades, etc. The place looked fine.
So that there were no damages. So then why didn't you return her security?
Because she tried to engage myself and the other person who lived there in to altercations. She tried to start fights regularly. And also the French girl who lived there complained about her. She's a surly, unpleasant person. She made the environment negative. As a result, after 4 months, a 30-day notice, the day after I gave her the notice, she attempted to engage me in the altercation by shouting insults at me and then putting her phone 6 inches from my face and filming it. And then in the process, so she used that and accused me of hitting her when in fact she had thrown her phone to the ground. After that, she called the police 7 times on me to my house, terrorizing me in my home. As a result, I have post-traumatic stress. I'm scared. I'm shaking. I need therapy after dealing with this female. I'm
going to stop you right there.
And Your Honor,
I
did return $264. After she lost her job, she continued using her time to call my landlords, terrorize the city, complain about the house, get fees accrued for the house. She tried to get me in trouble with the police on multiple occasions. I didn't do anything wrong.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop.
Okay.
Did she return $264 of the security to you?
Yes, she did.
So the answer is she returned $264 of the security to you.
Correct. Yes.
Which means on the security, $536.
Correct.
However, ROLAC is responsible for damages to myself regarding city fees.
No, she is not.
Okay.
No, she's not.
Whatever you say, Judge Judy.
Yeah, she's not. Ms. Balakwa, I think that you are under certain stressors, as we all are. It's a very stressful time in the country and the world. I don't want to exacerbate your stress.
Thank you.
So I don't think that it's necessary for me to go in much further to ensure that you get the remainder of your security deposit back, which is $536.
What about terrorizing me, calling the police on me? 7 times in my home,
Ms.
having them
Balakwa.
bang on my doors and windows. That's
Ms.
what she
Balakwa,
did to me. She's a Karen.
What I'm going to tell you is, in order to go into what you allege is how she terrorized you, certainly later on, because you accepted her rent, April, May, June, July.
It was after the
You
fact.
accepted her rent. Just a second. You
Correct.
accepted her rent. You didn't move to evict her. I think it's in your best interest to not go into, as you say, it's caused you a lot of stress. You're in therapy. You have issues.
Excuse me, Judge Judy. I do, okay? This girl terrorized me in my home, and so I asked for damages. So please don't tell me I have issues, okay?
Well, just a second. You told me you have issues as a result of it.
No, I'm telling you that she harassed and terrorized me in my home.
Okay. That's why you asked her to leave. And she
Correct.
left. And you have to return her security deposit, $536. And if, as a result of this that happened a year and a half ago, what you're telling me is that you have no after effect of that.
That's false. In fact, for the past year and a half, she
well,
has
if you do,
terrorized
then I'm
me
telling
with
you,
legal pursuits, Your Honor. This is terrorism.
Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
How long have you and the defendant been an item?
How long have me and him been a who?
How long have you and the defendant? She would be the defendant.
Sarah Rolak claims former landlord Anna Belacqua owes for the return of rent and security deposit, an illegal eviction, and an assault. Anna is countersuing for unpaid rent, harassment, and a false restraining order.
When was the last time the plaintiff faced?
There were multiple attempted restraining orders.
You have to, Ms. Belacqua, you have to answer my question. I said, other than this case, when was the last time the plaintiff filed a legal proceeding against you, month and year?
I think it's April of 2020. It's all the same case, Judge Judy. It's this case.
Is it for the return of her security?
Yes.
Well, then that's what she's getting. Judgment for the plaintiff, $536. The case is over. Thank you. We're finished.
Judge
Parties
Judy.
are, this case is concluded. Parties are excused.
She's evil. She tried to engage me in fights.
Because she assaulted me.
And she called the police on me 7 times like a freaking Karen.
I was using the washer and dryer, which she claimed wasn't included. And
in retaliation for me asking her to move.
She came over and I did start recording her, and then she hit me and knocked the phone out of my hand.
You know, a lot of people, when they're rejected, they act viciously, and she is that person.
I did get a temporary restraining order, and I moved out.
She is a vicious Karen with no soul.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hunter versus Cassell. Step forward.
19-year-old Tyler Hunter is suing his former landlord-to-be and for damage to his property.
Miss Cassell, you were renting a room in your house. The plaintiff came, looked at the room. You both agreed he gave you a deposit. That didn't work out. He wants his deposit back. That's what the case is about. So I have a couple of questions for you. I want you to tell me what kind of premises you live in.
I live in a 2-bedroom townhome.
Do you own or rent?
I'm renting.
How long have you rented there?
Been about 3 months now.
When you rented the apartment from the landlord, did you have a signed lease?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a copy of your lease?
I do not.
Why not?
I just didn't think to bring it.
When you rented the apartment and you signed the lease, did you sign the lease alone?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you advise the landlord that you would be living there alone?
Yes, ma'am.
So your lease precludes you from subletting rooms in the apartment?
I didn't read it, but yes, ma'am.
It does.
Yes. Okay.
Because most leases, when you have a lease, said that you will be the only occupant of the apartment if you're going to be in the apartment by yourself, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And despite that, how did you advertise to rent this room?
On Craigslist.
So you knew you were breaching your lease when you did that. Now, when you advertised on Craigslist, the plaintiff came to look at the room.
Yes, ma'am.
When the plaintiff came to look at your room, someone else was in the room. I want you to tell me the name of the person who was in the room.
Excuse me?
One else in the room. Who are you?
A boyfriend.
Was he in the room?
No.
Okay. Let's start out with, who was in the apartment other than yourself?
My boyfriend's brother.
What was he doing there?
Spending a week or two.
How much money did he give you?
Nothing.
How much money did you give her?
I gave her $300 for the deposit and $360 for the first month's rent.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about Tyler? Yeah, he gave me $300. He didn't give me $360.
He gave you $300 deposit and $360.
No, $300 for the deposit. He didn't give me $360.
I did give her $360.
Show me.
I have a signed agreement right here.
Stand up. I have questions for you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You gave her the deposit on when?
April 21st.
Well, why would you show me something where you withdrew $350 on April 10th?
Well...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tyler Hunter says former landlord-to-be, LaTownsend Cassell, owes for the return of rent and for damage to his property.
Now, tell me your last name, please.
Greer.
How old are you?
26.
What do you do? It's been an item.
How long have me and him been a who?
How long have you and the defendant? She would be the defendant.
How long have I been with her?
Yes.
Oh, for like going on 2 years now.
Who do you live with?
I live in Commerce, but I come back and forth to go to her house.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you're not on the lease either, right?
No, ma'am.
Sit. Show me that you gave her $660.
Well, this was the signed agreement with her signature where she agreed that I would give her the deposit of $300 and I'll pay $360 per month.
He didn't pay it.
Shh. She agrees you gave her $300, but not the $360.
Exactly.
I want to see where you gave her $360.
Well, I also have bank statements showing where I withdrew money to give to her.
Just a second. I'm going to see everything he has. Because so far, despite the fact that it has not helped her at all, she's giving me pretty legitimate answers. All I want you to show me is your bank statement, and you've got no receipt from her, I assume.
No, I have the signed agreement.
Which I signed when he gave me a deposit, but he didn't give me nothing to sign because he gave me no $360. And that's why he's not
a resident there other than yourself.
Okay.
And you have him. He's a resident, and the landlord should be watching very carefully. Are you still living there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you're breaching the lease. Got a whole bunch of people parading in and out of that premises.
Your Honor, She was actually there when I gave her the 360.
When you brought your stuff, it didn't have 360.
Listen to me. Don't speak.
Okay.
Well, you have a withdrawal. You saw the apartment on what date?
The exact date, I'm not sure of.
Well, think about it carefully.
Okay.
On what date did he see the apartment? Do you remember?
Approximately April 29th, I think. Somewhere around that time. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure.
I gave her my deposit on the 21st.
Well, 21st.
So it would have had to been a little
You
before
gave
that.
her the deposit on when?
The April 21st.
Well, why would you show me something where you withdrew $350 on April 10th?
Well, I mean, I was...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What else do you want?
The money for my mattress, which was ruined because Tylen set it outside.
Oh, good. You want to speak? I'm dying to hear it. Let's go.
Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter?
All right. Now, $300 you get back. What else do you want?
I want my deposit back. I want my
What
money
else
back,
do you want?
And the money for my mattress, which was ruined because Tylen set it outside.
Oh, good. You want to speak? I'm dying to hear it. Let's go.
First of all,
Just a second. Did you put out his mattress?
Yes.
On
yes.
what date did you put out his mattress?
I don't know, ma'am. I seriously don't. But I didn't put his mattress out. He called me on the phone and asked me, because she wasn't there, he asked me to help him to get his stuff. He wanted his stuff out since he didn't move. He wasn't even strong enough to get it, so I helped him get it out. I helped him get his refrigerator out and his mattress. It never got ruined, because as soon as I took it out the house, it went onto the back of the truck.
Believe you. Sit down.
Exactly.
Believe you. You
threw
get
it
back
in
your
the grass.
$300. Bye. That's all.
No,
Thank
Done.
you. Thank
Miss,
you.
she threw it in the grass.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge Judy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You were shut down because we had COVID. What are you charging her $3,000 for?
She didn't pay every single month.
Because we had COVID.
They never showed up on time, consistently lied.
How can I show up? I was at work and I told him that I was at work.
They never returned my calls. They told me dates that weren't true.
That once I get off of work that I will go. Something came up, I left.
They never let me move in that day.
He goes to my house with his uncle, starting a riot. I don't have time for that. I gotta go.
I saw him pay her both the deposit and the rent.
That's a lie.
And we never got both back.
Everything he said was a lie.
Just find more trustworthy people, I guess.
Never again. Just never again.
Who signed the contract with her to book the date?
My ex-husband and I both did.
Divorce kills a catered party.
You are not a signatory to the contract.
I did sign that contract.
Now this ex craves a refund.
It was only signed by your husband.
I don't have the complete contract.
Because it wasn't your contract.
There's a little bit of a story here.
I know you want to make it a story. This is a contract.
This is Judge Judy. Toby Petricelli is suing caterer Nancy Veretti for the return of catering fees for a party that...
Count in the matter of Petricelli versus Veretti. Both parties have been sworn in.
Thank you, Bird. Ms. Petricelli, I've read your complaint, and so this is a case involving a written contract.
Correct.
And the contract was for the defendant to cater an event that you were planning. You contacted her, according to your complaint, sometime in July of 2019, and your event was to take place in December.
Correct.
You didn't state what kind of an event this was in your complaint. Is there a reason for that?
It was a celebration for birthdays, retirement, and anniversary. It was a combination of events.
Okay. For the same people?
Correct.
Was it to take place at a hall or at your home?
It was to take place at a hall, at a club.
How were you referred to the defendant?
At the time, my husband had procured her information.
You got the information from your husband?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And who signed the contract with her to book the date?
We both did. My ex-husband
You
and
and
I
your
both
husband.
did, correct.
On what date did you sign the contract?
We signed the contract on July 10th.
And the event was supposed to take place, according to what I've read, on December the 6th.
Correct.
And according to what I've read, you gave her an initial deposit on signing of the contract of payments to be made periodically. Just a second, I'll get to you in a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
With payments to be made periodically until December 6th.
Correct.
On what date and in what amount was the next payment due?
So there's a little bit of a story here.
No, there's no story. This is a contract. I know you want to make it a story. This is a contract.
Okay.
You signed the contract on July 10th.
Correct.
2020. You gave her a $1,500 deposit. Is that not the date the contract was signed?
July 18th.
July 18th.
And it's signed by Mr. Petrocelli.
Put up your copy of the contract. Put up your
Mine?
copy of the contract. Yeah,
I'm sorry,
yours.
I thought you were talking to Nancy. I apologize.
I got hers, and it says that your former husband signed it on July 18th, and I'd like to see the copy that you have.
Okay.
Because you say we both signed it.
I apologize. I think I only have the one that he signed. I don't have the one that has my signature on that. I will look for that.
Well, you have to have that. And it was signed on the 18th.
We made the deposit to her on the 10th.
Listen to me. The date of the contract is the 18th, and it was only signed by your husband.
Okay.
Now, question would be, if your name was on that contract, on what date was the next payment due? Because that's how these events work. You make an initial deposit, and then you make periodic payments in order to secure the date. Now, on what date, pursuant to this contract that only your husband signed, on what date was the next payment due?
The next payment was made on...
No, I didn't ask you. No. Listen to me carefully.
I'm listening.
On what date was the payment due?
The payment?
Just tell me what date, pursuant to the contract, was the payment due?
I don't have the complete contract. Therefore, I do not know that exact date.
Well, then that's part of your problem because it wasn't your contract. On what date was the next payment due, Ms. Faharty?
This is an estimate invoice and supports the contract, and it's something
No, listen to me.
Right here.
I asked you a very simple question. I said, on what date was the next payment due?
August 6th.
Contractually, on or before August 6th, the person who signed that contract had to give you what amount of money on August 6th? Was the next payment due?
On November 6th.
And in what amount was that payment?
$3,500.
Now we're going to get to your story. So you made a $1,500. Let's say you were the person who did this contract. Then we'll get to the divorce later and whether or not this was the subject of the divorce proceeding. We'll see. I assume you have that information. On August 6th, you were to make a $3,500 additional deposit. Now, you understand that these additional deposits also, in that contract, it says the date that you're allowed to cancel. How many days prior to the event and what were the penalties for cancellation pursuant to the contract, Ms. Faharty?
That states no refunds 90 days before the date of the event, and they canceled December 19th, which is approximately 45 days.
I asked you a simple question. I don't want you to volunteer anything.
Okay.
It was a simple question, and then you'll put it up with a line. On what date did the contract provide they could cancel without forfeiting the money that had been paid so far? On what date? Was it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
90 days.
In the contract? Days.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Okay. Contract, no refunds will be given all days prior to event's original date.
Okay. And that's the contract. That's the refund policy.
Mm-hmm.
On what date did you cancel?
I canceled on Friday, October 16th, when we came back from being out of the country.
Okay. Well, that's less than 90 days. However, you made a combined deposit. You sent $8,000, according to you, or your husband sent $8,000.
I did.
Only $3,500 is forfeited because that was paid on August 6th. The other payment wasn't due until November 6th of 2020, Ms. Fajardi. And if she canceled in October, the other payment really wasn't due that she sent you. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes, you're reading correctly. However, there was a change in the terms of the contract based on a request for a discount on the event.
No, show me that in writing. Show me that in writing.
Right here.
Show me that in writing.
I say, hi, Toby. Refigure costs for pay in full discount for review. Pay in full discount. I showed the discount above the sales tax line, reducing the sales tax and savings too. No credit card fees for check or cash. Did review foods for discount and amounts. Take a look. I'm available to review by phone or stop by today or tomorrow. On the new estimate dated 8/5,
show me where she agreed to those terms.
When she paid the check, because here's the new estimate here. Estimate invoice has to be refigured.
No, I understand. I understand that. Listen to me, Miss Fajardi.
Yes.
She's not getting anything because she has no standing. She is not a signatory to the contract. She has no standing. Do you understand that, Ms. Petrocelli?
Yes.
You are not a signatory to the contract.
I did sign that contract, so I'm trying. I will locate that for you.
Listen, this is the time that we have all evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And you came to court. You knew you were coming to court. It's been my experience of over 50 years that when there is a contract, and its contract looks like the contract she just showed to me, there are two lines, one for your name and one for your husband's name. Now, did you have an attorney during your divorce proceedings?
Yes, I did.
Did your husband have an attorney?
Yes, he did.
Was this list?
Was not.
Well, that's too bad, because if anybody is owed any money, the person who signed the contract may be owed some money. But for two smart people, when you were divorced, you certainly didn't take care of it. You have no claim to this money, Ms. Petrocelli, or any part of it.
The contract is written out in both of our names?
It may be, but you didn't sign it.
Okay.
Maybe, but you didn't sign it. And you had dealings with her. Your husband may have benefited from that, but you can't modify a contract with her that only he signed. And if the two of you at some point agreed to a discounted fee, if you would pay all cash, so it wouldn't go through a credit card because they charge points.
Correct.
And you did, in fact, do that, and you canceled before the 90 days, then you're not entitled to any money. Then your husband wouldn't be entitled to any money. Certainly you're not entitled to it because you're not a signatory to the contract. Anyway, we're done. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
One would think that as a business owner, she would do the right thing, but it is what it is.
As a small business person, it's been very, very important to stick to our policies and our rules.
When I contacted her initially, she was very upset that we were going to have to cancel.
They're wonderful people. This was a joyous occasion, and we were all just devastated.
Said she'd get the money to me and then just kept stalling.
She wants a party. She's still got one with me.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bennett versus Robinson. Step forward.
Giselle Bennett is suing her neighbor, Shannon Robinson, for crashing his car into a retaining wall on her property.
Miss Bennett, you're sleeping.
Yes.
It's August 18th.
Yes.
2012.
Yes.
And you hear a commotion.
Yes.
Wakes you up.
Yeah.
Turns out this commotion is a result of the defendant's car wrapping itself around your garden and the wall of your garden.
Right.
And you want the defendant to pay for the damage.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Oh, Mr. Robinson, what am I going to do with you, sir? Let me just refresh your recollection as to what you swore to in your answer.
Giselle Bennett claims her neighbor, Shannon Robinson, crashed his car into a retaining wall on her property. Shannon says he has no idea what happened.
So, what kind of car do we have?
96 Chevrolet Caprice.
And on August 8th, your car.
Well, from my knowledge, the last time I remember my car being in my driveway, parked on a...
Just a second. The last you remember your car, Mr. Robinson, it was on your driveway.
Yes.
And that was when?
August 18th, 17th, the day prior to the incident.
So I want to understand this. You had parked your car on your driveway the night before this happened, and that's the last you knew of it.
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Robinson, what am I going to do with you, sir? Let me just refresh your recollection as to what you swore to in your answer. You said, I did park my car in front of plaintiff's home on the evening of August 18th because I was having people over and wanted my guests to park in my driveway. You remember writing that?
Yes.
Well, that's a little different from what you just told me. See, what you just told me, which I repeated to you twice, was that your car was in your driveway, where you parked it. You're the registered owner of that car, correct?
Yes, I am.
And in what city and state do you reside?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Now, Georgia is one of those states that require cars to have insurance.
Yes.
Not necessarily collision insurance, but it requires you to have liability insurance in case or person.
Yes.
So if your car, I don't care who's driving the car, if your car causes damage to the plaintiff's property, because you don't deny that her property was damaged,
Yes.
you deny you're responsible.
Exactly.
So if your car was insured, the insurance would have paid for the damage to her property.
Yes.
But your car was not
Insured.
insured. Yeah. And according to you, in either version of the story, either the one you told me or the one you swore to in your answer, you drove the car. That's the story you told me before. You drove the car and parked it in your driveway. The story that you wrote to me in the answer was you drove the car and parked it in front of her house because you wanted your guests to be able to park in your driveway. Either way, you drove an uninsured car. Why did you do that?
I mean, Your Honor, I know it's silly and basically against the law, but I just moved it because we're neighbors.
I know your neighbors.
We're neighbors. I moved it a couple of feet.
You turned it on, right? You turned it on.
Yes.
Now I want you to think very carefully. Now that we know that one of these versions maybe is true, was the car parked in front of her house or in your driveway?
In front of her house on the street, yes.
And you did that because?
Park and be able to get out when they left my house.
When you parked the car in front of her house, did you leave the keys in the car?
No, ma'am.
Now, the car ended up not in front of her house.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He knows he has to pay for it. He wouldn't even argue with me that he doesn't have to pay for it. Isn't that right, Mr. Robinson?
I feel like I don't have to pay for it because I
Oh, you don't want to go there, Mr. Robinson?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Giselle Bennett claims her neighbor, Shannon Robinson, crashed his car into a retaining wall on her property. Shannon says he has no idea what happened.
Now, can I see pictures of where the car ended up? You can see from there, right?
Yes.
Did you see who got out of the car?
No, ma'am.
Well, that's a lot of damage, Mr. Robinson, that would have been taken care of, sir, if you had insurance. Now you're going to answer my question that I asked you a little while ago. Why didn't you have insurance?
I believe my insurance had got canceled 2 days before or the day of the party.
Not putting you on notice, so they send you a letter. The letter says if you don't pay, you're not going to have insurance.
Yes.
And you just ignore that. Now, do you work, Mr. Robinson?
As of now, I do.
No. Then. On August, listen to me very carefully. August 18th, 2012, were you working?
No, ma'am.
In whose house were you living?
My mother's.
What were you doing in August of 2012?
Looking for work.
You looking for work?
Applying online, going to job career centers, job fairs.
And how would you get there? Got where I'm going?
Yeah.
You have an estimate to fix this damage. I think I've got Mr. Robinson. He's got me. He's not a bad guy. You know, he didn't murder anybody. He had a party. Somebody got loaded and caused damage. He has to pay for it. He knows he has to pay for it. He wouldn't even argue with me that he doesn't have to pay for it. Isn't that right, Mr. Robinson?
I feel like I don't have to pay for it because I.
Oh, you don't want to go there, Mr. Robinson?
Because
You don't want to go there, sir? I just explained to you that if you had a car that had insurance, your insurance company would have paid for it because it would have been your responsibility.
But then that'd be a case of me yard.
You think it flew into our yard?
I didn't do it, man.
It flew?
I didn't do it. When I woke up, on my knowledge of...
You don't have to do it. You're responsible for it. It's your car.
So if somebody crashed my car, I'm responsible to pay for that?
Absolutely. That's what you have insurance for.
Yeah, I have a letter from his insurance company that said his policy was canceled on July 22nd.
Well, that's not the day before. That's not a day before. That would be a month before.
I got that letter. I got that letter 2 days before, saying that my insurance.
Oh, well, maybe you were too busy to open your mail.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Do you have an estimate or a bill to fix the damage? You did fix it, did you not?
Yes.
Okay.
One of those pictures shows it being fixed. These are the estimates that I got. One was $19.
Well, how much did it cost you to have it fixed?
$350.
That's a bargain. My goodness, Mr. Robinson, you should go over and give her a big hug and a kiss. Possible price for you, $350. Why didn't you give her money for it? You working now?
Yes, I'm working now.
Yeah,
I didn't know anything about a civil suit against me until a week ago.
Well, now you know.
They moved out of the neighborhood.
Now you know.
They moved out of the neighborhood. I had no contact with them. I seen the wall was fixed, but I had no contact with them.
We still live in the neighborhood.
But not in the same house?
Yeah, we still live in the same
Same house.
I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them.
You haven't seen him?
No, ma'am.
Well, you must be busy working.
Yes, ma'am.
$350, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you, that's all.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy. An old RV needed some TLC.
The body itself has not lasted.
Nobody's body lasts. Not yours, certainly not mine.
Next, Judge Judy.
She heard all the evidence and found that he indeed was responsible for fixing my wall.
I offered to repair the wall. I offered to pay.
I'm just thankful nobody was hurt.
I mean, I feel something was unjust about it.
For COVID-related reasons, yes, you cannot evict a person.
Made to move in the middle of the virus.
What did you lose your job over?
I lose my job because of COVID.
Did a clever landlord skirt the rules?
You, as a landlord, cannot evict them. And I think that you knew that.
I didn't evict anyone. I put a pay or vacate, which is different from eviction.
I don't think that you could do that.
This is Judge Judy. Stephen Davis is suing his former tenant, Jade Packer, for unpaid rent and property damage.
Judge, this is case number 129 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Packer. Parties have been sworn in.
Mr. Davis, you have a rental property. The defendant in December of last year signed a one-year lease. She moved into the apartment, I assume, in December. The rent on the apartment was $999 a month. It was a basement apartment, and she paid you a $999 security deposit. Is all of that correct?
Yes, it is.
She paid rent in January of $999?
Yeah, she paid the rent, plus there is a...
Just answer my question.
Yes.
She paid in January $999.
Plus utilities.
In
yes.
February,
right.
What about in March?
March was paid.
She paid you $999.
Yes.
What about in April?
April was paid.
What about in May?
May was paid.
And how many rental properties do you have?
4.
And you are aware of the prohibition against eviction for lack of payment of rent during COVID?
Yes, for COVID-related reasons, yes, you cannot evict a person.
Just a second. You are aware of the moratorium on eviction for non-payment of rent during COVID?
Right, yes.
That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
And when the defendant called you, because now she's paid up April, May, now we're into June, when she called you and told you that she had lost her job, she had reduced hours, but then she lost her job, what day was that in either May or June?
That she phoned me?
Yes.
I don't have the date of when she called me. I don't have a recollection of that conversation.
Okay. Is what you're telling me she never called you to tell you she wasn't paying June's rent?
That's how I understand it, yes.
So she did not pay you June's rent?
Correct.
And you put a 3-day notice to quit on her door. On what date?
I told her I was going to post that on... No, that was...
June, just a second. When you told her that you were going to post that on June 13th, did she in that conversation tell you that she had lost her job?
No, I have a text chain here that mentions nothing about a job loss.
May I see it?
Sure. So right here you can see where I've highlighted. And
just a second.
Yeah, okay.
Just a sec. Don't highlight anything for me. I can read.
All right, all right.
I need the rent. If I don't get at least half by 5 p.m. Friday, I will post a 3-day notice to vacate. That gives you 3 business days to either vacate or pay the rent in full. Now, you knew that you weren't permitted to do that.
No, that is not my understanding.
Okay, can we get together this week and make arrangements for you to vacate the apartment? Of course, you can stay, but you need to get current on the rent. Either one needs to happen by the end of the month. I won't make you pay June rent if you get your stuff out by June 30th and clean the place. I won't make you pay June's rent. Well, that you're sending her in June, Mr. Davis, and my understanding is you already had June's rent or enough to cover June's rent by her security.
Well, the security deposit went to...
No. I didn't ask you what it went for. I'm talking about your gratuitous 30th. You won't have to pay June's rent. You and I both know that based upon what you wrote to her, you were keeping June's rent because she was breaking the lease, right? Because you had a year's lease with her and only 6 months were up. And you weren't going to return her security deposit to her because you didn't mention her security deposit.
Right.
So we know that.
Yes.
We know that.
Okay.
Okay. I just, I'm not a landlord. I'm a judge. I don't have rental property. But I know people who have more than one rental unit.
Right.
Understand, because I've been doing this now for 25 years.
Holy crow.
So you weren't being really nice to her by saying, as long as you leave the place neat, I won't charge you for June's rent if you're out by June 30th, because you already had her June's rent in security, which you weren't returning to her. You weren't giving her a free month's rent.
Well, I would have returned the security deposit.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. You wouldn't have. I know you wouldn't have. You know you wouldn't have. And what you did by posting a 3-day notice to her for non-payment of rent when she had really faithfully paid her rent for the first 6 months, was the wrong thing. You know that if you took her to court to evict her, you wouldn't have been able to do that. Now I finished with him for a second because he's suing for a whole bunch of unpaid rent and property damage. So he already has...
The first week of July.
What date in July?
I don't remember the exact date. I know it was in the first week because I couldn't get a truck to move all my stuff out. So it was getting prolonged because I didn't have the money since I didn't have a job to get all my stuff out.
Where had you been working?
Northeastern Services.
Until what date were you working there?
I think June 10th.
Did you start to collect unemployment?
No.
Why not?
Because my company said that I didn't lose my job due to COVID.
What did you lose your job over?
I lose my job because of COVID. I don't know why they told them that.
So you didn't get unemployment. If you don't get unemployment, that means that you quit your job.
I didn't quit. I did leave my job, but it was for COVID reasons.
Well, explain that to me. So you left your job. You didn't get fired.
I didn't go in because most of our houses were being shut down for COVID because I worked with residential. And so they were getting shut down for COVID, and there was nowhere for me to go. So they were going to try to have me quarantine with the clients for over 2 weeks, and I have a 4-year-old son that I couldn't do it.
Okay, got it. Does your 4-year-old son live with you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want you to show me pictures, Mr. Davis, of what you allege the damage is that the defendant did that was in excess of her security deposit.
Okay. This is the first picture I will show you of a few. The apartment was kept and how it was left.
And how it was left?
Yes.
Is that how you left the apartment, Miss Packer? Is that how you left the apartment?
No,
well,
there
where
was
would he get all that stuff from?
That must have been taken
Where would he
before
get that
I
stuff from?
started, before I actually processed the moving out. Because there was a lot of stuff in my front room, but when I left, there wasn't that much stuff left in the front room.
Well, show me a picture of what was left.
I don't have it. I just was trying to get out as fast as I can.
Why? You had notice.
I had until the 30th, and by the time I got the notice, it was because I was house sitting for my best friend. I had about 5 days.
You were house sitting for your friend where?
Downtown Salt Lake. She was in Idaho.
Let me see the other pictures, please, Mr. Davis. Was all of that property left there?
Yes, it was. Would you like more pictures?
I'm talking about your pictures. Was all of the property in those 2 rooms that you're showing me, was all that property left there when she vacated the apartment?
Yes.
Can I see the rest, please? Did you leave the beds there?
Not the bunk bed. The bunk bed wasn't mine. The bed in my room and
I
the
just
bunk...
wanted to...
Okay, sorry.
What is that?
That's a broken sheetrock. The wall was kicked in the kitchen.
How did that...
I was trying to sit down and I hit the wall too hard and it broke. I didn't kick it in. I was trying to sit down and I hit it too hard.
Let me see the next one, please. And the next. How many bedrooms are there in this basement apartment?
2.
Any other pictures you want to show me?
Sure. This shows furniture that was left outside of the apartment, which had actually been left out there for months before she moved out. I kept asking her to remove that, and it remained.
Okay, I don't care about that. Now I'd like to see your paid bills to clean up the apartment, please, and to fix the wall.
Sure. Here is the receipt from who did the painting. It's $1,800, and it shows the date on which that was completed.
Next.
This is a paid invoice from did the cleanup and removal of leftover junk.
Okay, that's $533.
Right, with taxes, yes.
The bills that you show total $2,333. From that, I'm deducting her security deposit.
Well, there's more in bills here. There's another $500 for the drywall repair, and then there's another $300.
He should have done that with the painting. Next.
Different people.
He should have done that.
That's the next one. Drywall. Okay. I don't have one for the carpet cleaning, so that's it for the bills.
Okay. Deducting from $2,333, $999, which you have in security deposit, leaving $1,334 for the damage that you caused and the cleanup that clearly is absolutely outrageous. Now, you didn't pay rent for June or July.
Yes.
Why?
I didn't have money. I didn't have a job. I'm starting to work, and tomorrow actually is when I could finally get a job.
Did you apply for rent relief?
I don't know what that is.
I don't either in your state. Is there a rent relief?
I don't know because I didn't know about eviction court. This is the first time I lived on my own. I don't really know much.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
Mr. Nichols.
Yeah.
Did you cut all 4 wigs?
I trimmed them. I didn't cut.
She didn't ask for a trim. She didn't ask for anything other than can you flat iron and curl them? No cut. Why did you cut them?
Stephen Davis says former tenant Jade Packer stopped paying rent and moved out. He also claims Jade left the apartment damaged.
Based upon the moratorium, and I haven't seen any prior cases with regards to the eviction moratorium, it's clear to me what I know of it is that if someone no longer is able to work and it is COVID-related, you as a landlord cannot evict them. And I think that you knew that.
I didn't evict anyone.
Yes, you did. So you put a 3-day notice. You put a 3-day
eviction.
notice on. I understand that. You couldn't take it. It was impossible to take her to court, sir, because they would have thrown you out of court. You understand that. So you were relying on the tactic of saying to her, she says she's never lived on her own before. This was her first apartment, to say, if I put this up on her door, she's going to either get out or pay me. I don't think that you can do that. So I believe that she should have left the apartment in far more reasonable condition, but you're not getting your rent. You're getting $1,334. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's it. We're done. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
The defendant owes me money for rent under Utah law.
I don't know if he was able to do what he did to me or not.
I can collect the amount of rent that I lost until...
I have no idea. I just know I couldn't pay rent.
The new tenant arrived, which was in September.
And then I had to make a decision for me and my son.
This was not a COVID-related refused to pay.
When he took those pictures, it was before I even got in there, too, because he changed the locks on me before I could even do anything.
And I just don't think it's right for someone to leave an apartment looking like it was Beirut in 1983.
All parties in the matter of Wilson versus Nichols. Step to the podium, please.
Teray Wilson is suing salon owner Reginald Nichols for damaging her wigs when he cut them without her permission.
Miss Wilson, you purchased 4 wigs and dropped them off at the defendant's home, I assume, to style them. Had he ever styled wigs for you before?
No, actually, he was my hairdresser. He has styled my own natural hair.
So when you bought these wigs, did you contact him to see whether he worked on wigs as well as natural hair?
Yes, I know for a fact I've seen him do wigs and sew-ins and glue-ins, so I know his history of doing wigs.
Okay, and from what you saw, his services were satisfactory?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I sent her a picture of them when they were ready.
He sent me a picture, and this is what he said. He said, the divas are ready, and I said laugh out loud because he called them divas.
When for the first time did you question him about why he cut them?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Teray Wilson is suing salon owner Reginald Nichols for damaging her wigs when he cut them without her permission.
On what date did you purchase these 4 wigs?
April 29th, May 8th, and May 22nd.
Did you buy them online?
No, ma'am.
Where did you buy them?
There's a young lady in Sacramento. Her name is Tashana. She custom makes wigs out of raw Peruvian hair.
Do you have the receipt for payment for
yes,
the 4
ma'am.
wigs?
I have my bank statement because the way I pay her is through Zelle.
Okay. And how much were the 4 wigs that you purchased from her?
$375 a piece.
So they were $14.90.
Yes.
The last one that you purchased from her was on May 22nd. And you dropped all 4 of them off at the defendant's shop or home?
His residence, because he wasn't able to work in his shop because of the COVID.
On what date?
That was on July 17th.
Had anyone else styled the wigs before? You started buying them in April, then you bought some in May. Had anyone styled them other than the defendant?
No, just the young lady that custom made them for me. She's the only one that has touched them besides the defendant.
Had you worn them between April and you wore them the way they were?
Yes.
When you contacted the defendant about styling them, what did you tell him that you wanted him to do to the 4 wigs?
I do have a text message, and I call him my hair husband. So I just asked him, could he flat iron and curl? No cut, just flat iron and curl.
May I see the message? So you dropped them off?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Did you cut all 4 wigs?
I trimmed them. I didn't cut.
Well, cut, trim, you took a scissor to them?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, you're not allowed to do that. She was very specific. She said to you, hey, husband, if I bring you my wigs, can you curl and flat iron them? No cut, just curl. Why didn't you ask her? She didn't ask for a trim. She didn't ask for anything other than, can you flat iron and curl them? No cut. Why did you cut them? She wants her money back. She said, I wore them. I wore each of them twice. They were different. I wanted them just the way they were when I bought them. And now, because you gave them a trim, they're 4 different wigs. Why wouldn't you call her and say, you said no cut. Do you want me to trim them? You communicate with her. Why would you do that?
I wasn't thinking.
$14.90, and she paid you $30 to cut them because she didn't see them because of COVID. She didn't come in. You just gave them to her. That's what you say. Is that right?
No, I sent her a picture.
You didn't inspect them at the time that you picked them up.
No, I did not.
Is
I
that
waited
not true?
till I get home.
I sent her a picture of them when they were ready, and then I showed them to her on the head when I gave them to her when she pulled up in the car.
Is that true?
He sent me a picture, and if I can put it up here.
Yes, please.
Okay. This is what he said. He said the divas are ready, and I said laugh out loud because he called them divas. So when I got to his home, he brought them outside on a mannequin head, the mannequin heads that I gave him because I didn't know if he had any at home because of the COVID and the COVID that was going on. Mr. Nichols has an elderly mom at home. I did not want to stay there chit-chatting with him.
Okay, don't tell me the whole story.
Okay.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
So you saw them? You saw the photographs the same day that you picked them up?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When for the first time did you question him about why?
At home, we lived that close to each other.
Did you text him or call him?
I text him. And I do have the
see
text
it, please?
messages here as well.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see the text messages. Did he answer you?
He did call me, and I was on the Zoom call, and I told him I was going to call him right back for my job. I called him back, no answer. I called him a few times, no answer, and then I texted him when I was at work and informed him that I needed to discuss with him the damaged wigs that were done, and he never responded to the text. So at that point, I contacted Small Claims Court and asked them, because I've never done this before, what do I do? And,
got it.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $15.20. Thank you. We're done. Next time, think, Mr. Nichols.
Cases concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
The dog ingested something.
He was in great pain. It's part of a rubber ball.
Have you ever seen that before?
No.
The dog was in your care.
Judge Judy.
Well, I actually trimmed them and I flat ironed them.
I was highly upset.
It was uneven, so I just evened it.
He did something I asked him not to do.
Because some of them were uneven, and I just wanted to freshen them up.
I cussed my husband out because he introduced me to him, and I cussed him out. I did.
She didn't say she didn't like them when I sent her the picture.
I'm done with them. I'm good. I'm going to donate them to charity. They can have them.
I'm saying that when you flat iron them, you get a different texture.
When I finally take these wigs down, he'll probably do my real hair.
Yeah, I don't have no animosity against him.
That's my hair husband. I don't have no hard feelings.
Things were sort of tense.
She says her roommates got pushy.
We got into a disagreement and an argument over my boyfriend, the fact that they didn't like him and they didn't want him over anymore.
They were there for multiple days on end. It wasn't like he just came to visit.
Was it fear that forced the issue?
She sent a text message saying that he was no longer welcome at the apartment.
Did he ever do in your apartment anything unlawful?
This is Judge Judy. Arena Robinson and Alyssa Galindo are suing their former roommate, Jasmine Linden, for unpaid rent and damages to their apartment.
Of Galindo Robinson versus Linden, parties have been sworn in.
Who's going to speak for the roommates?
Oh, I will.
And your last name is?
Robinson.
Miss Robinson, the defendant was a roommate of the two of you, and I believe there was one other person?
Yes, Your Honor.
One other person?
Yes, it was Alyssa.
Okay. And did you all move in at the same time?
Yes, we did. We moved in on October 15th.
Did you sign a lease?
Yes, we did.
You said you moved in on?
October 15th.
Of 2019?
Correct.
Did all four roommates sign the lease?
There was only 3 roommates total, and yes, we are all on the lease.
And what was the duration of the lease?
It was a 10-month leasing term.
There came a time when there was a problem with the defendant and her relationship with the two of you. And from what I gather from the complaint and the answer, that emanated from the fact that she had a boyfriend, and there was a post that her boyfriend made that you felt was compromising.
Definitely.
And you brought it up to her, and subsequent to that, things were sort of tense. The boyfriend didn't come around anymore. And sometime in May of this year, the issue of the photograph, the posting came up again. There was an argument, and the defendant left. That was in May, correct?
Correct. May 21st, 2019.
For May. Correct. A portion of the rent. And what was your portion of the rent, Miss Linden?
Me and Arena both shared it. It was $780 for both of our rooms. Alyssa paid a little bit more, but I paid around $800.
Would you tell me what your rent was?
$780.
You paid?
Plus utilities.
And you had paid May's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you moved out, you'll tell me about that.
So I moved
day
out
in May that you...
Yeah.
I didn't ask you yet.
Okay.
You continued to pay rent for the month of June, even though you weren't living there, right?
Yes.
There's no issue that she paid the month of June, correct?
No, correct.
So she paid May, and she wasn't there for part of the time in May. She paid June's rent, and she wasn't there at all. She paid the month of July.
Correct.
Pursuant to her lease.
Correct.
And her agreement, even though she wasn't there at all. Did you have your own room?
Yes, I did.
Did you have your own room, Miss Robinson?
Yes, I did as well.
So it was a 3-bedroom apartment.
Correct.
For the month of June and July, I want you to be very careful about how you answer this question. Did anyone sleep in Miss Linden's bedroom?
No, they did not, Your Honor.
Is what you're telling me that there was no overnight guest in Miss Linden's apartment, June or July?
No, there was not anybody in her room, Your Honor.
I'm not talking about living there. I'm talking about stayed over
Yes,
in
no,
her
we didn't,
room.
No, we did not have anybody.
That she did not pay, which was the last month, and there was a prorated piece of that. How much was her prorated piece of rent for the month of August?
The prorated amount was $556.
Your complaint alleges money owed for prorated rent and apartment damage, and that figure you give me of $556 is what you are suing for. What do you allege the apartment damage was?
We got receipts back with invoices saying that they replaced the entire carpet all throughout the house, along with closet doors, paint, and cleaning fees.
Just to say, well, that's not my question to you. Is what you're saying that the $556 includes what the building is charging for taking out of security and charging for you? I didn't ask you that. I asked you what her prorated share of rent was that you are claiming that she owes you. That can't be the same figure as damages.
Prorated amount would be, if it was split between the three of us, I believe it was a figure of $1,200. And with that, split between 3 people would be $400 each.
Are you talking about her prorated share of rent?
Yes, till August 14th, not including the damages.
Did you live there in August?
We did not. We moved out July 25th.
Month of July.
Yes, and then we still had the prorated amount until the end of August 14th. And we also have evidence here saying that she stated that we will all be obligated to pay until August 14th. From Jasmine Linden.
Do you have the text on July 25th to show me? You said in your answer that you have a text from one or both of the plaintiffs that said if you dropped off the keys, you would not owe any more money?
That is correct.
Do you have that text?
I do.
I'd like to see it.
This is part of it, and there's another page. There's actually 2.
Who sent that to you?
Arena did.
Arena is?
Arena Robinson, one of the plaintiffs.
Okay. If I'd like to see the next part.
And the last page is where I stated that my keys were turned in.
Did you have security deposit when you moved in?
We did. It was $199, and we split it 3 ways.
$199?
That is correct, Your Honor.
When did you give the building notice, Miss Robinson, the lessor of the apartment that you were living in, that you were moving?
We gave them notice on July 14th, 2019. on a 30-day notice.
Your lease was up in August.
Yes, we get all of our finances straight. We moved in a little bit earlier than our lease was up, but we still continue to pay at the prior apartment.
On condition that you were out on the 25th of July.
Correct.
That was the condition.
Yes, we left on the 25th.
Of letting you out of your lease.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You didn't have cats, did you?
I did not.
You did not have cats. You have a cat.
They both do.
We both do.
No, you have the cat, Miss Robinson.
We do, yes.
Yeah, both have cats. And there was some cat damage in the apartment that they're claiming. The other damage you mentioned was a hole. Now, do we know how that hole happened?
Yes, we do. It was from all of our mounted TVs. We had 3 mounted TVs in the apartment. 4. Sorry.
Okay. And how much did they charge you for spackling that hole?
We spackled it ourselves.
Okay. I'm going to get to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim is silly. It's dismissed.
Oh, my counterclaim, Your Honor, if I can.
Your whole counterclaim is dismissed.
I know. I just wanted to. It's mainly just about the damage to my couch that their cats did, and that they did. Okay. There's a burn mark on it from them smoking on it, and their cats from scratching on it.
Okay. Your counterclaim is dismissed.
Okay.
Now I want to hear about the event that caused you to move out. I'm going to consider that and whether or not you have any part of paying rent after you paid for both May, June, and July when you weren't there, and they moved out themselves. About that event that you say you felt unsafe, so you moved out. Let me hear.
Yeah, so we, in May, at the end of May, we got into a disagreement and an argument over my boyfriend, the fact that they didn't like him and they didn't want him over anymore. And I took that and the way that she had worded her text message that...
Just a minute. You have to tell me, not that they didn't like him. I want to know who said what to whom.
Arena.
Somebody said something. Arena said to you.
Yes, she sent a text message because he was going to come up there that week, and she sent a text message saying that he was no longer welcome at the apartment, and that neither one of them wanted him up at the apartment, and that the lease was up in August, so I'm sure I had plans to move out, and so, good. Sorry.
Okay. Just speak slowly, not like you're speaking to a contemporary, but to an elderly person.
Okay.
They sent you a text message. I would like to see the text message that Arena sent you.
I don't have that printed out, but I can pull it up on my phone if
we have
that's
it, Your
okay.
Honor.
I'd like to see it.
Would you like to see the photo as well? We have a photo attached
I didn't ask
as well.
for the photo.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to see. Okay. So my question to you, Miss Robinson and Galindo,
yes.
Is that your last name?
Yes.
Did the defendant's boyfriend ever do anything or outside of the apartment that the three of you shared?
As far as...
Miss Galindo? No. Just a second. That's a question. Did the defendant's boyfriend ever do anything to either of you, either inside or outside of the apartment, physically?
No.
Did he ever say, in the times that he visited you, did he ever say anything to either one of you that you would like to tell me about that was threatening or menacing, either inside or outside of your apartment?
No, he did not.
Then you can't tell her who she can have in or out of the apartment. Plain and simple. That was not a side agreement of yours. That was in writing. You had a lease. If you told me that the boyfriend, I mean, if he put up some obscene picture of himself on the internet, that's his own stupidity. But evidently he was there frequently, and when he was frequently there, he never did anything. Well, I'll ask you one other question. Did he ever do in your apartment anything unlawful?
No, he did not.
Then you can't make those restrictions on a tenant and telling a tenant that they can't have a social guest because you don't like them and you think that they're crude, lewd, for whatever reason, not good for her, whatever the reason. I mean, she's an adult. If she signed a lease, you can't. Galindo?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
I stood up from the table and I just started dancing, and Darren touched my behind. And with a reflex, I did like that, and he fell on the floor. And then I went to sit down, and he came, punched me in my, sorry. He came and punched me in my face.
Arena Robinson and Alyssa Galindo claim former roommate Jasmine Linden owes for rent and damages to their apartment. Alyssa is countersuing for the return of rent, storage fees, and a damaged couch.
You want to say something, Miss Galindo?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Yeah.
The reason
Go
as
ahead.
to why we said that is because she would have her boyfriend over multiple days at a time. He would be over for 3 to 4 days at a time, spend the night. He wasn't just visiting casually. He wasn't just making an appearance. When they were both there together, they were there for multiple days on end. It wasn't like he just came to visit.
That's okay. That's okay. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much. Go home. Be happy.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's it. You're done. Goodbye.
This case is completed. Parties are excused.
It's totally like they didn't have a case.
There are some people who sign leases and break leases.
So I'm glad that she saw that I was truthful and that they had no claim to.
We were completely okay with paying until the end of the lease.
What they were trying to say I did or didn't do.
She, on the other hand, decided to just completely ghost us.
They felt like they had what they had to say what they had to say, and we went our separate ways. It was best for everybody.
I don't think that is very mature as an adult, so that's all I have to say about that.
My grandma paid $1,200 for it. It was a brand new couch.
The couch was free. Ridiculous.
And their cats ripped it up, and they've also, there's a burn mark in the couch.
It didn't get destroyed.
It was definitely a lesson learned, and I'm glad just to put this all behind me.
Time to move on and get her out of my life.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Larry versus Harrington. Step forward, please.
Regina Larry is suing her former friend, Darren Harrington, for punching her in the face during a get-together at a friend's house.
Miss Larry, it is your claim that the defendant, who you knew, assaulted you.
Yes.
By punching you in the face.
Yes.
Mr. Harrington acknowledges that he punched you in the face. Mr. Harrington said he was acting in self-defense. Okay. When did this happen?
I believe it was his birthday, August 16th.
2013?
Yes.
And there was a party?
No, there was, what, 5 of us, 6 of us?
Besides you and the defendant, who else was there?
It was Vincent, it was Lala, it was Dougie, and my brother came in afterwards.
What time did the incident take place?
About 5 p.m.
Tell me what happened.
At first we were playing cards, and after cards, everybody started doing their own thing. I stood up from the table and I just started dancing, and Darren touched my behind. And
he did?
Yes. And with a reflex, I did like that, and he fell on the floor. And I told him, don't you ever disrespect me like that again. He said, all right, I got this. All right, I'm sorry. And then I went to sit down, and he came punch me in my, sorry. He came and punched me in my face.
Okay, go ahead.
How in the world, how big she is, why I want to fight her? She bigger than me. Why I want to start a fight with her?
Let's start out with, you were at Vincent's
We
house.
was at Vincent's house, yes.
She got up to dance.
Yes.
And she was dancing.
Yes, yes.
Did you touch her behind?
I ain't touch her behind.
Where did you touch her?
I ain't touch her. She touched me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Had you ever had trouble with Miss Larry?
No.
Could you think of any reason why she would just come over if you had no trouble with her
She was
and
drunk.
slap you?
She was drunk.
What about you?
Judge Judy. Regina Larry says former friend Darren Harrington punched her in the face during a get-together. Darren claims he was protecting himself.
Let's start out with, you were at Vincent's
We
house.
was at Vincent's house, yes.
She got up to dance.
Yes.
Did you touch her behind?
I ain't touch her behind.
Where did you touch her?
I ain't touch her. She touched me.
Okay, so she was up there dancing.
She was dancing.
And what were you doing?
I was by the kitchen, by the sink. I turned around.
Was she dancing in the kitchen?
She was dancing. Yes, ma'am.
In the kitchen?
Yes, she was dancing in the kitchen.
Is that where you were dancing?
No, ma'am. I was at the table. We were playing cards.
Which table?
At the dining room table. There's a kitchen and there's a dining room. We were playing cards at the dining room table. I just got up out my seat and just started dancing.
Just a second. So what you're saying is that this all transpired in the dining area?
Yes.
Was it in the dining area or the kitchen?
It was in the kitchen.
Kitchen. Okay, so what happened in the kitchen, Mr. Harrington?
I was by the sink. I turned around and she hit me in my face for no reason. Then she threw me on the ground. My friend Vincent, he the one grabbed her. So his friend grabbed me. So she started trying to come at me. Then that when I had swung on her for self-defense, because she was going to try to kill me. Yeah.
Larry?
No.
Then could you think of a reason why she would hit you?
She started everything, the whole day.
No, I'm just asking, could you think of any reason why she would just come over to you if you had no trouble with her?
She was
and
drunk.
Slap you?
She was drunk.
What about you?
I was tipsy.
You were tipsy?
I was tipsy.
You would all had something to drink that day.
And she the one bought it.
Good. I don't care who bought them. Good for her. Why didn't you buy the drinks?
Because my birthday.
Okay. Miss Larry, who is this gentleman?
That's my brother. He came in afterwards. I was bringing...
So he wasn't there?
Well, yes, he was there.
When it happened?
Yes.
Would you stand up, please, sir? What is your last name?
Larry.
Okay, Mr. Larry. You know Mr. Harrington for a long time?
Not that long.
How long?
A couple of months. I just knew that he was friends with my sister.
Okay. Did you see this incident?
Yes, I did.
Were you playing cards as well?
No, I was just standing by waiting for a ride home from my sister.
Okay. Was she drinking?
Yes, we were all drinking.
She wasn't going to drive home.
Well, no, I don't. Well, I was waiting for a ride. I didn't know her decision. I didn't know what she's going to make.
Tell me what you observed.
They were playing cards, and it came to an end, and everybody went their separate ways. And she just stood up out of nowhere, and she just stuck her on the butt, and out of instinct, she just threw her arm back, fell to the floor. She approached him, said, "Don't touch me in that way again," and that was that. As she went to go sit down, out of nowhere, Mr. Harris struck her in the face.
Okay. Have a seat, please. Okay. Did you seek medical treatment?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see your bill, please. How did you get an injury to your left shoulder and left wrist?
Because when he hit me and then we were fighting, that was the second time, okay? We were already had tussled. And that's when I was like, you leave me alone. And when he charged me like a football player, that's when Vincent came and pulled them apart. I had my arm around him like this. So when Vincent and must have pulled, I must have hurt, because...
Okay.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, where did he punch you?
Punched me in the forehead right here.
Oh, in your forehead.
And that's when we started tussling. That's how I hurt my arm.
Okay, got it. Okay, so what you're seeking is the payment of your medical bills and some money for payment.
Yes.
Okay, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. Keep your hands off the lady, sir. Don't act disrespectfully.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You rented a car for him. You destroyed the car.
Accidentally.
Who gave him the credit card?
He's a big manipulator.
He played you.
Next Judge Judy.
She's the one started. She was dancing, then I turned around, she slapped me in my face.
Because it happened earlier that day.
Oh, she put bill on me. Yep, she so did. She put bill on me.
He disrespected me earlier that day by opening a can of beer in my car.
My whole brand new outfit, she put bill on me.
I said what I had to say to him, and I told him that I should let him out, but I didn't. We were on our way back to Vincent's house, so.
No, she grabbed out my hand and put bill on me.
He needs to stop drinking and hitting on women.
I haven't hit no woman.
I'm the second woman he has hit on.
She would come after me, so I had to defend myself.
That means he don't have respect for himself or others.
No, sir. She don't got no butt.